I need my character.
I'm not hearing you over on the stream. I'm hearing you here, but I have no audio on the stream. Oh no.
Let's try this now. There we go. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to RPGs Uncovered. Thank you for sitting and listening to me miming my introduction, apparently. It's one of those days. I must apologize now once again for being legitimately half an hour late to start this show because a number of life things have happened and apparently technology things are happening as well. But I think all of our faces are working. I think all of our voices are working. I see all of our captions are working. So perhaps you followed along in the captions. I don't know. I will keep this even briefer than the first time. Thank you. Hello. You know what we do. I help you find new games. Scroll down, check out previous things, head to our YouTube, head to the Discord, say hello, talk to all these wonderful people here beside me. One thing I need to make sure we point out is the content warning. Just because this is a personal horror game, personal horror mystery game, some things might come up that you might find uncomfortable. If that is the case, please do step away, tune to something else, whatever you need to do. Put yourself first, put your own mental health and safety first. And if this particular show, Iron Coke and Conscience, isn't for you, that is 100% all right. Go back, check out previous seasons of RPGs Uncovered, and stay tuned for the next one. With that minor body horror kind of stuff, we might maybe touch on concepts of queerness and personal identity and what kind. And it is important to note, I will say again, now that you all can hear me, that these three amazing people next to me are absolutely amazing, wonderful people, some of the best people I know, and they have gone above and beyond that by supplying me with some of the absolute shittiest, worst trash characters that I could possibly ask for. So their characters are not them. They are personally going out of their way, fighting their wonderful selves to be absolutely terrible. So if they do something that makes you uncomfortable, if they say something that is controversial, it is in character, though we try to stay away from any, big, hard-hitting, controversial topics, just because, we're here to have fun, and we know we're here to make this a fun time for you. But the characters are not the players. That's all I have to say about that. They are wonderful in every way. And to support them, you can scroll down to our Mayhem meter. I want to let you guys know that that is the best way I have thought of to help make sure that I can find some way to compensate these amazing people for their time and creativity. So check out you can scroll down to the About page just down below. There's a bright yellow Mayhem meter that'll take you to a page where you can donate. Anything donated to the Mayhem meter is split up and divided amongst the cast here. That is the way I have to be able to compensate all of these wonderful people. And you can check out the Mayhem meter up in the corner up there. And when that hits $50, something crazy will happen. I'll give them new toys. Maybe your monster will jump out. Some crazy happenstance will happen. Maybe a personal crisis will come up. Whatever it may be, mayhem will ensue. The stakes will increase. I'll give them new toys. It'll really help the story move forward. And even beyond the narrative, it helps support financially these wonderful people. And, we all need everything we can because trying to survive in an ultra-capitalist oligarchy is tough. But we are moving on from that because I am excited to get to the penultimate episode of Iron Coke and Conscience. We have a lot to fit into an even shorter amount of time today, so we'll see what we can manage. Let me throw it over to all of these fantastic folks to briefly tell you who they are, where you can learn more about them, and who they are playing. So let's start, as we usually do, with the amazing Kat.
Hi! My name is Kat. I am the host king of the podcast Sword of Symphonies, where my good cool friends play my game Heroic Chord and are punished for it. No, wait. Blazing Him is where they get punished. I have to go really fast. Blazing Him is Roar to Heaven. It's a game where people get punished. It's a transparent anime fan game, and I'm a transparent anime fan. And I have a coffee, and I am going to be the host of an upcoming talk show called Take Flight, where we set up newbie designers with experienced designers and so that they can get guidance and wisdoms. And I'm so excited, and I'm excited to be here. And I play Laura, and she is a jerk. Bye.
All right, let's throw it over to Lion.
Hi, I'm Lion. You can find me at the Lion Knight 42 over on Twitter or at TFTT Studios, also or on Tales from the Table Studios on all of your social media. I'm the creative director and founder for Tales from the Table Studios, where we platform a bunch of amazing creators, tell great, compelling, emotional, fun, entertaining stories, and run a bunch of charity stuff, which we'll have more information on hopefully in the near future. Today I'm going to be playing Chandler Chad Washboard Goldberg, the most adorable, wonderful sweetheart you've ever met, or maybe not. I guess we'll see, and that's me.
Sus. And to round us off, as always, JD, hello and welcome.
Hi, I'm JD. You can find me on social media at JD Not Jason Dean. I am most often, when I am not here, found with Live from the Apocalypse, a not-for-profit TTRPG studio that does so many amazing things, and I am in like 90% of the things that go on there. So if you want to track that down, you can easily find that through my socials. Today I am playing Roman, who is not the worst person at the table somehow, and we're still not sure how that is possible.
All right. We will see how much of that we will reveal and get to play with today. So let's do a quick recap to remind myself, my players, and you guys at home what we have been up to in the brief. So, we find each other. We find all of ourselves stranded in the now ghost town of Jolston. This was a once thriving steelworks community that unfortunately had a terrible accident and collapsed right as the entire U.S. steel industry was financially collapsing around itself. And with the Jolston steel destroyed, many of its residents injured, killed, or otherwise affected by this accident, the company moved out. Whoever could get out got out, and the now remaining residents of Jolston are trapped there in what is now, unbeknownst to them or the characters, the Malice Locus of this game, the bad place, suffuse with negative energies. And it is up to our cast here to figure out what happened, how to potentially solve the problem, and more importantly, how to survive and escape. So they are stranded here. They've been poking around the town of Jolston. They made a few friends. They've been put up in one of the many decrepit abandoned houses, assuming, at least the other residents around them, that they are the newest residents of Jolston because nobody ever leaves. They are trapped. They tried to walk out once. It was hot. It was a long journey, much longer than it took to get them here. It seemed to go on forever, and then the road exploded and sent them flying back a few feet, right back into the border of Jolston. They've been poking around the abandoned, decrepit steelworks, and have made a few trips over there, and are currently deep inside the basic oxygen furnace mill, having finally determined that the company that owned this place, a company that has grown over the years into Arcadia Incorporated, the company that Roman Hargreaves' father is now the owner of, once had a controlling stake or some sort of meaningful impact in running Jolston Steel. They finally determined that the people that have continually over the years been sent to Jolston to find something I've been looking for, a particular safe. What's in it, they don't know. But whatever it is, it can't be good. They made their way into this entire facility and have found an area right underneath the collapse of the blast furnace, which fell into the basic oxygen furnace mill and covered what they believe was some sort of external business administrative overseer supervisor's office, completely covered it in what is now essentially a steel bubble. Sticking out with shrapnel and all kinds of debris and whatnot, but a hollow but thick steel bubble. And it is now up to them to determine how to get in there and potentially find this safe. All while trying to survive, apparently, ghosts, crazy golden statue people, and death ingots that want to smash their faces.
Yeah. We met a mono from Monster Rancher and it tried to bash our heads in, but we locked it in a big metal box.
There you go.
With trickery.
So, we are going to start off today exactly where we left off 2 weeks ago on our last episode of Iron, Coke, and Conscience. We see the group huddled together, tending to their injuries, breathing heavily, trying to sit down and relax a little bit while still paranoid about their situation and each other, even, because the Malice Locus has been finding ways to stick a wedge between this group and pull as hard as it can. There's a lot of mistrust growing, a lot of secrets that are being revealed, tensions are getting high. And the last thing we saw was Roman here take a water bottle from Chad, who previously dosed one of his few water bottles with a cocktail of his various narcotics, medications, and other various drugs. We're not sure which water bottle that is, but Roman has just chugged down a water bottle, or most of it, slams it back down onto the ground, takes the cap, twists it on, moves his hand away, and we do not see the little indent mark that Chad made denoting the drug cocktail. So for now, Roman is safe. Or
For
as
now.
safe as you can be
For
in
now.
a haunted steel mill.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is a very good point.
Are any of us safe, really?
And not when we're around each other, I have to imagine.
All right.
What are you talking about?
Oh, nothing.
So, they are sat just underneath one of these large oxygen furnaces where they have trapped the death ingot that tried to smash them previously. Not far from this, probably 15 to 18 foot diameter steel bubble, again with shrapnel and debris and all kinds of stuff sticking out of it. They've seen corpses around, they've seen ghosts around of both the initial workers and residents of Jolston, and even suits who have been sent here by Arcadia Incorporated. And I believe we are picking up today with the group trying to figure out how they are going to get themselves past this steel bubble. So I will let the camera float its way down from above, looking down on this tense triangle of once friends, now
We're friends.
very suspicious and annoyed, at the very least, with each other.
Oh yeah,
Have at it.
that I can't deny. I can't bat my eyelashes to that one. We're all a little annoyed.
Nah, bro, we got this.
We got this. Laura has clambered up onto the steel bubble. I think she's the kind of person who just like climbs things.
Oh, I will say that's a good reminder. You two, Laura and Chad, you don't see this, but I believe the actual last thing we saw last episode, Roman, you look over the steel bubble, and you see little pinpricks of light here and there as the steel, at least to you, looks like it is beginning to heat up in little isolated spots here and there, almost like fireflies, but they're quickly growing. You get the dark gray, improperly cooled, mixed and cooled steel is beginning to turn darker and red and then orange, and it will quickly soon turn yellow and even white hot. That is what you see, Roman. But Kat, Laura, being I believe the only one of the group who is currently uninjured, or mostly uninjured,
Mostly.
heads over and starts climbing up on this steel bubble. And to you and to Chad, you do not see this apparent increase in heat.
Yeah, I think Laura's not like climbing all the way to the top of it. She's just looking for a place to sit, basically.
And Roman doesn't stop Laura. Roman actually is looking back and forth between the bubble and where he saw the ghosts of the suits. And he's just kind of looking back and forth, and then his eyes settle on where he saw the ghosts. And he says, You all thought you were worthy of this. You all thought you could do this.
What?
And of course, that is the moment that technology decides it doesn't like me.
Oh no.
It's fine. We are back. So Roman is saying, you all thought you were worthy, but you were sent here. I was brought here. I am meant to be here.
What?
Nothing, Chandler.
Did you
Don't
like
worry about it.
bump your head or something, bro? Concussions are a motherfucker, dude.
He's right, they are a motherfucker.
I'm fine, Chandler.
All right.
Okay.
And then he's gonna Because I do recall he gave Roman water, but he did not give Laura water, I
He
think.
did.
He did? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
he gave
Then,
Laura a
yeah.
water bottle, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and Chad's just gonna sit there, not sure what the fuck is going on.
And then Roman is going to look at Laura and say, Laura, you might not want to be near that right now.
Yeah? Okay. And she just skids down.
Why not, bro?
Wasn't it feeling like it was getting hot to you?
No. Didn't feel a thing.
But look at it. It looks like it's heating up.
Does it to me, Jack?
No, not really.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also gonna, if I look over at it, I assume it doesn't look like it's heating up to me either.
No.
Now this is one of those only one of us sees it things. Okay. Well, you can only throw us for a loop with that for so long, Jolston.
Oh, okay. This whole place is just fucked, bro.
Yeah.
But like, also, you need to be careful because if you have a concussion, that's the type of shit that'll happen. Look, I'm not.
Don't have a concussion, Chandler.
You might not know if you have a concussion, bro. That's how concussions
didn't.
work.
I didn't hit my head, Chandler.
All right, I'm just saying, bro. You might not remember it.
Are the concussions in the room with you right now?
That's see, I know that's not how concussions work, bro. That part I know.
So, we're looking for a safe.
And I'm pretty sure it's in there.
The bubble?
Okay.
Which
Okay.
means we need to find our way through.
So we
Hello?
blow it up.
How the fuck are we gonna blow it up?
Do you have explosives, Laura?
Maybe. I wish. There's probably some around here. The kid was telling me. Coke. The stuff that they use to something, the steel, and then it's steel all of a sudden.
Wait,
is
what?
explosive.
What
Yeah,
kid,
what?
Laura?
Yeah.
Sheriff's kid.
When were you talking with him?
Oh, yeah, he came to the house.
We did come to the house.
Right. Yeah. Fuck this place, bro.
Yeah. He wanted to show us around, and I was like, no, I don't think there's anything interesting to see here, but thank you. And then he was telling a story about Coke exploding.
All right, so we need to find the Coke,
Wait.
and then we can blow this up.
Question.
Don't we need like Mentos and shit for that?
No, different kind of
Chandler.
So if I were... It's also different from the Coke that Chandler has, right?
Presumably.
Wait, that shit can blow up?
I don't know.
Fuck.
I think it's something different, actually. That's just called the same thing.
Okay. You scared the shit out of me, bro.
Yeah, me too.
The last thing I need is to blow my fucking nose off.
I've watched a lot of people do a lot of Coke, and the thought that it could become a crime scene any minute, genuinely a heart attack.
Be real fucked up.
So fucked up. Oh my God.
Perhaps we should not be discussing this now. Perhaps we should start finding that Coke so we can move forward
Yeah.
and find that safe.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
What did it look like? Do we know?
Weren't we in the Coke Works yesterday? If days are anything?
Yes. Time is a little wibbly wobbly right here because one, we've missed a week between sessions, and two, Jolston. But you were previously over at the Coke Works one of these past days. That is where they would take steel, not steel. That's where they would take coal and through a process burn out all of the impurities and whatnot and distill it down into metallurgical coke. You were there. Most of the furnaces, the coke furnaces there that you saw were closed, though you did open one up and it did explode on you. Though you attributed that to the Malice Locus itself. There may be coke there in the actual coke works. There will almost certainly be coal still lying around in coal storage that you might be able to turn into coke. And there probably is, because that's a process you probably don't want to get into. There probably is actual coke still stored either by the coke works or here somewhere in the basic oxygen furnace facility to be used to pile into the furnaces to keep it fueled. So you can look for that. And because it's been 2 weeks, I will remind myself, the players, and the audience. Little Sammy, the sheriff's kid, specifically said that coke makes for excellent fuel. It gets very hot, but when shaved down to a powder, or if it becomes a powder in the furnace or anywhere else you are trying to use it, that powder can very quickly flare up and explode. So it will be a combination of sustained heat from the coke itself and explosive potential from the powdered coke. And you may also need to find some way to contain and direct that heat/blast. So you may need to find a way to create your own makeshift crucible, or find other ways to pack the coke to increase the actual concussive potential of it on top of the heat itself. You will also need some sort of ignition source that could be as simple as, like, a regular, like, cigarette lighter probably wouldn't work, but like one of those mini, like, super blue flames. I'm not a smoker, I don't know what they're called. Butane,
like
is that it?
Like butane or the torch lighters.
Yeah, something like those could work. But there's no electricity in the facility, but you can probably look around and find some sort of ignition source. So you will need the coke itself. You will need some way to contain it. You will need an ignition source, and you will need some way to manipulate the steel once it gets hot enough to actually work with, because you don't need to get it hot enough to actually smelt steel alloy to actually turn iron and all of this other stuff into steel itself. You just need it hot enough to work as a forge to be able to move it apart and basically, forge your own hole or doorway or whatnot. So you need something to manipulate the steel bubble once it gets hot enough to do so.
Gotcha.
Probably would have been more interesting to make you all roll ignorance checks for that, but we don't have time. We're moving forward.
We don't have time.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that coke isn't genuinely explosive, though. Who'd be fucking dead is Lisa.
I'd be a lot poorer too.
Fuck
I'd be
yeah.
fucked up, bro.
That would be fucked up. That would be real fucked up. And
Can
Laura's
we
just
please
started
stay
walking
on
back to
topic?
work. She's walking back to where the coke works.
Yeah, and I think Chad will get up, and I don't know if Roman ever got up, but if not, Chad's gonna reach down and like offer him an arm.
Of course, Roman's going to take it.
And Chad will, I assume, be the one putting like 95% of the effort into getting Roman off of the floor. Yeah, there's a bit of a grunt, because Chad, in his infinite wisdom, did not think about the dislocated shoulder and offered the wrong arm. But is not gonna let Roman hit the ground, so that's what we're doing.
All right. So let me remind you
I'm
all.
already walking. I don't see it.
So let me remind you all of your mental state here. Remember, I've been poking each of you with sharp sticks and then throwing those sharp sticks over towards other characters. So keep those in mind. But I will also point out, in case any of you forgotten, that we can reference our virtual card table. Currently, Chad is sitting at 5 cards and Laura at 4. Hand size in Locus equates to the weight of the world weighing down on your character. It is the it's the overall weight of the world. It is long sustained stress, whereas the actual stress mechanic in this game is sort of short-term stress. Being scared or worried or something that you can more or less center yourself through a short break of some kind or a night's sleep or whatnot. But the number of cards in your hand and collectively amongst each other denotes the weight of the world bearing down on you, and it's a lot more difficult to remove those. So Chad and Laura are sitting pretty well at between 4 and 5 cards. Roman here, however, is at 8 cards, almost actually double what Laura is sitting at, which is probably why he's perceiving things that others don't, because he is sunken further and further down into the grasp of the Malice Locus itself. So I will remind you all of your mental states as we continue forward, and ask, because you do have a number of things to gather, and you might not be the bestest of friends anymore. Is anyone splitting up to go and gather these materials individually?
If the boys are slow. Like,
And
Laura...
I think we are.
Yeah,
I
Laura's
think-
marching.
Yeah, Laura's not deliberately like, I'm gonna do this by myself, but she does not have the patience for them, so she's just gonna start going.
Chad will probably call out to her. I assume, because if Roman's slow, then also Chad is slow, because Chad's not gonna leave Roman behind.
Yeah.
But I think, noticing the gap that seems to be growing between the two of them and Laura, Chad's gonna kind of call out and be like, Laura, wait up.
Okay.
And Roman's going to actually tug on Chad's arm and say, No, let her go ahead.
What? What?
First of all, we have a lot to gather and not a lot of time to do it in, but there's something going on with her, Chandler. I tripped over her suitcase. She left it out so that I would trip over it.
Why do you think she would leave it out like that? I mean, people fuck up sometimes, bro, right?
I'm not sure.
I will also remind you, in case it got lost in the multiple weeks, Chad, when you were locked in the train car, it did look as if it was Laura's hand that closed the door.
Oh, yes.
I don't know why she would do that, though. But I think we're better off without her for a moment. She can be useful in the ways that she's useful.
Okay, bro. I get it. Yeah.
And everything she was saying about not seeing how that metal was heating up, I mean, that was just her trying to mess with me.
You know, it is real strange that she didn't see it, yeah.
Isn't it?
These boys need a grown-up. I can't help them anymore.
You all need a grown up.
I'm fine.
That's... Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, bro. Yeah. I know it's tough. We've all been like so tight for a while, you know, and like I guess it's in these real fucked up situations that you start to realize who people are. And then he's gonna kind of like give Roman a gentle like shove. Yeah.
And Roman is going to grimace, given his broken rib, and give Chad a not super friendly look, and say, yes, these are the sorts of situations where people show you who they really are.
And then I think Chad is gonna make no like reaction to the look that Roman has given him. He just has that big dumb smile that he always has on, and he's gonna clap Roman on the back just once as his arm kind of like comes to rest on his shoulder, and start to very gently sort of steer them in a different direction from the way Laura is walking.
You fuck. You fuck.
I'm just looking out for my bro. If he's worried.
You're gonna murder your bro. You're gonna murder your bro and you want no witnesses. I know what this is.
Never.
I know what this is. I'm gonna go find some coke.
All right.
My dealer's acting weird, so I have to find it in the wild.
There you go.
Fair.
You
Don't
don't
trust the dealer if they're shady.
you don't want to snort this coke. I mean, you probably don't want to snort any coke, but you really don't want to snort
Actually,
metallurgical
Laura,
coke.
Yeah.
Laura, as a rule, doesn't.
Mhm.
She's very much a body is a tempo kind. She's the assigned adult at the party very often
Mhm.
when people are getting high.
Different kind of
Depending on what
tempo
they're
from Chad's very
I
Bacchic
was gonna
tempo.
say- Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not that different. They're both athletes.
Sure. Just one is a temple of indulgence. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we know Laura's heading back to the Coke Works, which you know very well. The other two of you, what is on your shopping list?
I'm thinking something to direct and contain the blast, because my thought is if we need an ignition source, and Roman will say this to Chad, he's got the flare, and that might work as an ignition source.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. Good call, bro.
All right. Do either of you have an idea for forming this crucible or other means of containment, or would you like to roll ignorance checks for some kind of hint or clue? Because I assume you don't have as much knowledge on steelworks as I do.
So
I'll roll an ignorance check, unless Lion has some thoughts.
I mean, there's the poor man's crucible, which is what, like clay, right? It's like clay or ceramic.
Yeah,
As a base?
most forges use ceramic of some degree in their containment vessels. Yeah.
But that's just about as far as I can go on the knowledge I have with it. Yeah. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and say that I don't think Chad would have any hope of succeeding at this. I don't think there's anything he would know that could be useful here. So I would, if everyone's cool. Oh,
Sure.
yeah, please.
I will just say it's not just necessarily a recollection of academic understanding. This could also be your ability to take in your surroundings and say, hey, maybe we could use that.
Okay.
If you want to get in on that, or use a different
Yeah.
check that you can
Yeah.
convince me of. Either way.
I think that makes sense. Yeah, you can probably look around, see what he could find. But I do think just it makes a lot of sense to, at the very least, have Roman go first, and then maybe Chad can build off of that, because I think Chad, in this particular instance, is completely hopeless otherwise.
All right.
I think he's distracted.
So I believe we've taken care of everyone's injury, so you don't have the penalty from having a major injury anymore.
Yeah.
So in Locus, anytime you want to roll to see how something goes, you take 3d6, roll all three, and look at each individual result, and then compare that to the number of dots you have in any particular attribute. And the dice you look at will be determined by the difficulty of the check. By default, most checks are going to be medium difficulty, which will use the medium value of your dice. So if you roll a 1, a 3, and a 5, you're going to use the 3 and consult that to your attribute. So, Roman, on an ignorance test, what you got?
I got a 2, a 4, and a 5. So if this is medium, the 4 does beat out my ignorance.
Okay. Yes, you do have to... There we go. You do have to exceed your attribute level. Meets it, does not beats it in this game. But Roman's ignorance is 3, so you rolled a 4. That is good. Okay, so ideas for some way to contain this. Chad was on a good line of thinking using clay. In fact, the large, like 20-ton, I believe it's 20-ton crucibles that they use for actually transporting the molten metal within this exact facility are made of a very specific combination blending of clay. Which I believe is heavier in certain metals. It's not just like the clay you get at AC Moore or whatever and make figures out of. One has crashed on the floor. So there are pieces and like a whole 3/4 of one of these crucibles available. Probably, definitely way too heavy for any of you to move on your own, but you might be able to find some way to move it or break it down, form it into something. Obviously, you're not going to be able to like melt the clay down and reform it or anything, but you might be able to like take pieces of it and pack it in a certain way. You could also just go the route of cramming a bunch of material down onto the coke once it gets started. Make sure there's enough room that oxygen can still get in there and fuel that heat. But if you just pack as tightly as you can, maybe then cover it with something, the pressure in there will build up and build up as it gets hotter. And when that powder ignites, you might even want to make some sort of like funnel or something that you can throw powder in there once it's properly primed. That could cause it to explode. Otherwise, you could basically just pile up a whole bunch of coke on top of a certain section of this steel bubble, maybe line it with clay pieces or debris or whatnot, and basically just turn it into a forge. It will take longer, and that wouldn't necessarily be the explosive potential, but just the increase of heat will eventually cause the metal to weaken and allow you to move it. So I think any of those three options are at least come to mind to me. If you can think of anything else, knowing that you passed this ignorance test, go for it.
So I think Roman only mentions the first two options to Chad. He does not even consider that last one because of the length of time that would take. And so it's pretty much do we take the pieces and make what we can, on the spot, or do we try to move a larger piece and get it into place?
I mean, well, all respect, bro. You're fucked up. I'm fucked up. I don't know if we're gonna have much luck carrying some big heavy shit, but the pieces we could probably make work. I have a question. Considering the state of disrepair this place is in, is there anywhere I might be able to find a particularly long, preferably thin, piece of steel or rebar?
Yeah, looking around, you could probably find something like that just about anywhere.
Great. Yeah. And I think Chat'll kind of like split off from Roman as he's saying this, look around for a bit. When he eventually finds one that's about arm's length, he's gonna pick it up and he's gonna start kind of like pushing stuff around on the ground.
Are you looking for something thin but sturdy, something flexible,
Yes.
something chain?
No, something thin but sturdy.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. I mean, there's all kinds of machinery in various levels of disrepair. Some of them have taken a lot of concussive and shrapnel force and heat from when the blast furnace fell and exploded.
Right.
So you could probably go over to one of those machines and just pull like a lever off of one of them, and it's probably like 2.5, 3 foot long steel. Like it's heavy, but it's thin and it's sturdy. And for you, heavy to this degree isn't a concern. Roman using it for an extended period of time might tire him out, but you're fine.
Sure. Yeah. So I think Chad will make his way over and he'll find it and he'll be like, we could use this to like push through shit or even like break it up so we can take the pieces. And then he's gonna grab it and he's gonna like put one foot against the side of the machinery and just kind of like pry it off.
All right, I would like you to make me I believe this is a frailty check.
Yeah. We can do that.
In Locus, all of your attributes, all the character attributes, are defined by their negatives. And the more dots you have in an attribute actually means your character is worse at something. So instead of having a strength ability that you want to get high, want to have a high number in, you have a frailty ability attribute that you want to keep as low as possible if you want to be a sturdy and strong individual. That Chad is, having only 1 dot in frailty. We're going to call this. Actually, you have a specialty
It's located.
in.
Oh, weightlifting.
You have weightlifting. Now, I believe your injury was treated, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're no longer dealing with the penalty. You still have the damage, but you're not dealing with the penalty. Would weightlifting work here? I mean, that's really more for extended lifting and pulling of things.
I don't think it would be useful for this.
I don't think we're going to worry about it, and you already only have 1 dot in it anyway. So we're still just going to call this a medium test. Easy enough for you to do. What you got?
So that's a 4. I got 6, 4, 4.
Okay, yeah, that works.
The doubles continue.
Yeah. All right, you plant your foot, grab this lever and start pulling, and it does. There is this screech of metal on metal, rust giving way, and then a twang as it pulls apart. I want you now, actually, to make me a clumsiness check.
Ooh, yeah, we can do that.
Because that was a lot of potential energy that's now going backwards.
Easy, medium, or difficult?
Medium.
Oh, ho, ho.
You're pretty good at this too.
Yeah, 6, 6, 1.
Well, the doubles continue. Medium is still 6. Not a problem at all. This is one of the machines nearby where Laura had the idea of trapping the death ingot. You saw during that process and just after she was milling around in that area. You do stumble backwards, and you're not sure if you remember this being the case before or this being the case when you went up and actually grabbed hold of this lever. But as you throw yourself backwards, you stumble for a bit. You do catch yourself, but you turn around, and there is this long, sharp, like ceiling joist that has fallen and is sticking out at like a 45-degree angle that would have done some real damage if you fell into it.
Chad just, like, after it comes off and he stumbles back and he stops.
I will say it does look like it has been recently moved. This does not look like the angle it originally fell in.
Can I think I'd like to ask if I can make a stress test then. Because I feel like if there's reason for Chad to believe that this may have been put here with intention, it very much goes against this issue that Chad is currently struggling with of community and the people around him and the realizations that he does slowly seem to be coming to.
Sure.
And I think that merits a stress test. That I think would be against maybe temper.
Okay. Yeah.
If that's okay.
I know I'm throwing a lot of checks at you really quick here, but this may actually be relevant to the stress test. So go ahead and also make me a what would just be looking around, taking in your surroundings. I think that's either carelessness or no, it's not really ignorance. Ignorance is more knowledge recollection. Let's go with carelessness. Yeah, that sounds about right.
We'll do that one first.
Yeah. So you're not all that great in this. You have 4 dots in carelessness.
I do.
We are going to call this... no, we're going to call this medium. It's just a regular check, yeah.
Okay, so before it was 661, now it's 662.
Okay, medium value is still 6. You succeed in this. As you turn around and you notice this, and you notice that it does look like it's been manipulated. You can see the indent in the debris where this was originally laying. You can see the scatter of other smaller debris, moved from the place. And you turn around questioningly, like, somebody must have done this. And as you turn around, in your periphery, again, back in the direction that Laura eventually walked away from, though a little bit closer than you would imagine that she would be at this point, and little vectored away, you do see again this sort of wisp of like a pink shirt covered forearm, or at least just past the wrist, sort of move back behind a piece of machinery, as if Laura was watching this. Now go ahead and roll your stress test.
I'm gonna double down on that stress
Yeah.
test.
And I am actually going to make this a hard difficulty stress test, because this is multiple times now that you've seen, apparently, Laura fucking with you. Dangerously.
Well, for what it's worth, you could have made it any difficulty, and it would have been the same thing. I rolled 3 ones. I do have some willpower, but narratively, I do feel like this makes sense. And I think the dice have made this decision very clear. So we're going to go with it. We're going to take that stress.
So I will remind everybody for the demo play side of things that on 3d6, if you roll 3 6s, that is a critical success. Now, I don't believe there is a critical failure, but if there were one, it would be 3 1s. So I am all for your decision to forego your willpower there. So you are going to increase to a tense stress level, which means it will cost you will get to, when you spend willpower to re-roll dice, you will now only be able to re-roll 2 dice for 1 willpower as opposed to all 3.
And
in fact, actually, because you rolled 3 1s, I'm going to give you a card.
Love it.
I wasn't originally going to give you a card for this. Stress was going to be all but critical failure, whether it's in the rules or not.
I was going to ask for one because I think it's perfect.
Excellent. Well, interestingly enough, you got a 4 of clubs here.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do.
Which is your virtue.
Yeah.
When a character draws a card that matches their virtue suit that they pick during character creation, in this case, clubs for Chad, which represents his virtue of community, looking out for his people, they will immediately discard that card and gain 3 willpower.
I think as Chad notices this movement, there's a moment where he just kind of, his eyes linger in that direction, and then he turns back and he's gonna swing the like steel like lever and like hit at the broken like spiked bit that had been almost the end of his run here, to kind of like knock it away. And then he's gonna look over, and there's a moment of like stress and tension on his face as he looks at Roman, and he's like, man, fuck this place, bro.
Chandler, what just happened?
This whole fucking place is just, it's bullshit. Do you know where Laura is?
I mean, she went that way.
Alright, yeah, that's what I thought. Well, so like, I could have sworn I just saw her over there watching us, bro. I mean, she wouldn't be like, I mean, she might be fucking with us. You think she'd be fucking with us? I mean, you said she might be fucking with us.
I mean, she's definitely been fucking with me. Like I said, I did trip over her suitcase, and she said she had no idea how it got there.
And she lied about the like fire and shit.
She did. So maybe she is watching us.
You gotta be careful, bro. You gotta, keep an eye out. Just, in case.
You as well, Chandler. I would not want anything to happen to you.
Oh, of course not, bro. I got you. I'm gonna look out for you too, always.
I know that, Chandler. I know.
Let's actually, with this, the camera is going to pull back quickly away from these two, talking about how Laura is dangerously messing with them, and we will find Laura over in the Coke Works, far away from where, apparently, Chad has just seen her. Laura, you're on a mission to get some Coke, to score some Coke. Not the fun Coke. Don't do Coke, kids. It's
Don't
bad.
do Coke,
It's
kids.
real bad. You are looking for metallurgical Coke. How are you going about this? Especially now that you realize that the boys aren't behind you. Does this matter to you at all?
It does provoke just an absolutely enormous eye roll.
You take
like,
one damage from strained eyes.
Oh,
No.
yes, absolutely. I can't with these two. I cannot with these two right now. Honestly, this is fine. Coke Works. What is a Coke? It
All
comes
right.
in lump.
Yes,
The
so
kid
you
said
have...
he found a lump about this big. Okay. That's somewhere to start. Looking for lumps of stuff.
All right.
Should have brought the fucking kid. Fucking conscience gets the better of you. You leave the fucking kid behind. Dumb fuck. Next time you bring the kid, dumbass. Fucking moron. Alright. Not too dumb to figure this one out, though.
All right. Yes, the kid in reference to Sammy, the sheriff's kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you basically have three options here, and actually before we get to that, I remind everyone that you are walking through, as you are moving through this facility, you are wandering by these golden, vaguely meeple-shaped pillars, seemingly made out of shining solid gold, that we've experienced in the previous episode. And as you get close to them, probably within about 2 meters of them or so, you start hearing these whispers. Help, everybody, run, fire. And you are, as you are moving away from where the impact of the blast furnace was, these pillars get more and more spaced out. Fortunately, by the time you get to the Coke Works, you are mostly beyond this whispering field of pain and fear and grief. But you and the other two have been having to deal with watching your step or dealing with the residual built-in negativity of the Malice Locus. So just painting the picture for the audience there. Laura, you basically have three options as far as I see it, and you can come up with your own as well. You can go and raid the coal storage for coal and see if you can, make coke yourself. I don't know if you have any reason to understand how to do that. Yeah.
I don't know how to do that. I'm a poli-sci major.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to justify bombing poor people overseas. I don't know how to make coke.
Mm-hmm. So that option would require you to go and find the recipe for coke, probably more than you want to deal with. You could go and look around the Coke Works itself. Again, it's almost a kilometer-long line of these giant furnaces. Most of them are closed. The ones that you have seen open are either empty or damaged from time. Covered in other debris and dust, this sludge of rain and wind and whatnot piling debris and nastiness onto what coke may have been in there, probably unusable. But there are unopened ones that you could explore. Or you could try to piece together where in this facility they would actually store the formed metallurgical coke to then be taken to the BOF, basic oxygen furnace mill.
I think that's where I'm at. I think where I'm at is like, let's find out where they kept it, and then let's see if there's any there.
Okay. Go ahead and make me an ignorance test then. I will say either ignorance, I'll leave this to you, ignorance to try to actually suss out how this operation works in the most logical place for that to be, or you could simply just wander around and try to stumble into it through observation only, which would be, I believe, carelessness.
Those are both a 3. I'm gonna go ignorance. Laura's gonna use brain.
All right.
What difficulty is check?
We're going to keep it a medium difficulty.
Okay. Hiya! Yeah! Yeah, we did it!
All right.
Which is good, because if it was a hard check, I rolled a 1. But it's not a hard check
There you
to
go.
find out where the coke is.
All right. So, yes. Let me actually consult my my notes real quick with all my pretty pictures of the Bethlehem Steelworks. Yes, you can see again, there is this long line of furnaces, and there looks to be a series of sort of scaffolding bridges that may also have like a conveyor belt system set up there to help move the finished coke over to storage facilities closer to the BOF. You don't see a way into those from this current position that is easily accessible. You could walk around, survey the damage, try to find some way into this storage collection area. You could look someplace else. Presumably this would be taken to the BOF to be parceled out to the furnaces itself, but in much smaller quantities, so it may be harder to find. Or you could scale up the coke works itself up to those bridges and make your way through the actual mechanism that would transport from the coke works to the storage facility.
Oh, I can climb it?
Yeah.
Oh, I can climb it, huh? That would be a clumsiness check to climb it, right?
I believe it would.
I'm gonna climb it. I'm
All
gonna
right.
go up there. This is so dangerous. Wow.
Yes,
Oh, is
you
there
are.
here to slow her down? She can just fully Mission Impossible up there.
That's true. So, Laura is quite good at clumsiness. She only has 1 dot in clumsiness, meaning that she is not very clumsy. But this is a difficult, dangerous facility at the best of times, with a lot of moving parts, a lot of wear and tear, a lot of sharp pieces of metal and rust and sharp ceramics. And that was 20 odd, near 30 years ago, when it was in work. I'm not going to say pristine, but working condition. After years and years and years of wear, I'm going to say, unless you can get particularly creative to help offset this is going to be a hard check, because you are climbing a good 3 stories high on a building that was dangerous when it was intended to be used 30 years ago.
Hard check. Oh no, I can check. I know my way around safety harnesses.
All right. That would be very helpful if you had a safety harness.
I know my way around safety equipment. That's how you use safety equipment safely for everyone. So there's no safety equipment, is there?
No.
Oh, beans. Ah, heck.
The best safety equipment you can find, actually, I believe you saw a skeleton a little down the ways here that had a hard hat. You could go take that.
I don't want it. Okay, so one time I was an extra in Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, and and I know a lot about dance climbing. That's sad. That show did not exist in this time.
No.
I'm just gonna climb.
I will remind you and the audience that in Locus, even a failure should move the story forward. It is written right into the rules that a failure on a check really should succeed in some way, but with consequences.
Yeah.
So even a failure, because this is a hard check, if you're worried about failing and, you can't climb, the door's closed, it's locked, you can't go anywhere, that's not going to be a problem. Even on a failure, you will likely get up there, but there will be consequences.
As long as none of these roll a 1, I'm good. As long as none of these roll a 1, I'm good.
You had to say it. I wasn't going to stop you from saying it.
You didn't stop me from saying it, Jack. And I love you very, very much. But you should have stopped me from saying it. I'm going to spend a willpower to re-roll it.
You may do so. You can spend...
I think I'm just tense right now.
I believe so. I think it is only Chad who is now up to tense.
Yeah.
Or, up to tense. Well, Laura, do you remember? It's been 2 weeks. I should have noted it.
Yep,
Did you have a reason to go up to tense before?
No.
Okay.
I mean, the weird thing happened with the pillars, but...
Yeah. I think you guys have thus far been pretty good with stress tests because you're spending all of your willpower to succeed those. So you are just at
my second attempt.
Yeah, you are just at uneasy, so you spend 1 willpower. You may re-roll all 3 dice if you would like. Yes. You re-rolled, and it sounds like you succeeded.
3, 4, 6.
Excellent. All right, so
turn off the dark.
You start climbing up this the side of this steelworks, and you get to a point where you grab onto. The only thing you can find to grab onto is this round. What do they call those? You know what I'm doing.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like the wheels, right?
The little wheel latch thing.
Vault handle.
Sure. Yeah. You find one of those. It looks well rusted, and you try to grab it as low as possible. But as you do so and start to pull yourself up, it turns a little bit, which throws you off a bit. But it actually snaps from the rust, and it falls, and you lose your grip real quick. And anybody who was not trained or had experience with physicality and movement as you do, being a gymnast, being a dancer, probably would have had a hard time correcting from that. But you do manage to steel yourself, throw yourself back towards the wall of the coke works, the coke furnaces, and climb your way back up there once more. No problem.
Can't fucking get me. Who do you think you're talking to here? Laura says to nobody. Well,
you do notice when you get to the top, and you look down at your hand, because your hand is a little sore. You probably, you grabbed onto this rusty handle and it fell off, so you probably got a little rust abrasion on there. So you look down, and instead of seeing, rust abrasion, you see this vaguely greenish yellow thin line of slime on your palm that does have little specks of rust in it, but it burns. I imagine you quickly wipe that off on your pants or something.
Ugh, the fuck. God, it sucks here. Fuck, it sucks ass here. Fuck. God. Fucking hate this place. Okay, all right, coke. We find the coke. We find the coke, we find the boys, we make the bomb, we get the out. We're good.
All right.
Focus, idiot. Fuck. And then Laura just starts going back to coke, her coke hunt.
Walking along the rooftop of the coke furnaces, you can make your way to the first conveyor belt bridge and start walking across that. It's narrow. It's a good 40 feet in the air or so. So for anyone afraid of heights, it would probably be quite daunting. Let me ask, I know you're a gymnast. Is that a problem for Laura?
No,
I didn't think so.
Laura was one of those kids that always kind of had to be up. Was one of those kids who climbed trees to get away from everybody.
All right.
I don't think she's ever been afraid of heights.
So that's not a particular problem. It's narrow. There's no handrails because this really was supposed to be a mostly automated process, and there wasn't a lot of safety guidelines back in the 60s and 70s to worry about this. But it's wide enough, and you're a gymnast. You're used to walking tight beams.
Yeah.
It's not even that narrow. You're fine. You can walk across this conveyor belt bridge over to the other side. You feel like it takes a little longer than it should, but you do get to the other side and you see the opening into this large silo, basically, this sort of conical tower that is set up. And you can make your way inside. I will say,
Yeah.
it is quite dark in there,
Fuck.
and full of combustible material.
I shouldn't use a lighter, huh?
Well, probably not.
Son of a fuck.
I'm gonna give you that one for free, so you don't blow yourself up.
Son of a fuck. I hate this place. I go in the dark.
Okay, you go in the dark. We see
I go in
Laura
the dark.
disappear silhouetted, looking from the inside of this silo out as the silhouette of Laura moves away from the little sunlit archway of this opening and down into this storage space. And we'll come back to Laura, but before we move over to the boys again, it's been an hour or so.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give everybody a new card.
Thanks, I hate it.
Every
Love
hour
it.
in actual real-world game time in Locus, you hand out another card. This represents, again, the weight of the world bearing down. In sort of role-play, longer format situations, it's a slow burn weight of the world, just everything that's happening slowly building up. If this were combat and it takes an hour to get through 2-3 rounds of combat or so, those are stressful 2-3 rounds because it's, constant quick movement, combat, monsters, exerting yourself. So one in-game hour. Let's start with JD here. That is a Queen of Diamonds for Roman.
Cool, that's my haunt.
That's your haunt card.
Yeah.
Building up now at 9 cards in your hand size, topped off with not 1 but 2 diamonds in there. So Roman's having a bad day. Chad, that is a 6 of hearts.
Oh, good.
Where you
That's
at?
my haunt.
Also
too.
a haunt card. Lovely. Love it. You guys are being well supportive of each other. And Cat here, that is an 8 of diamonds for
Neutral.
Laura. Neutral.
Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
Can't let my bro suffer alone.
Yep. All right. So, back to the boys.
Boys.
Where did we leave off? What are you guys up to?
Well, when we left off, we were talking about the odds of Laura being involved in what we've been experiencing lately. And I think in the time since, it makes sense to me that we would have been discussing, by we, I mean, Roman essentially explaining to Chad how the best way to go about doing this, breaking these pieces off so that we could bring them back.
And I think as we're doing that, there comes a point when Roman goes quiet for a few moments, and it makes sense because Chad is busy breaking chunks of the clay so we can
Just like
start to move
swinging,
away.
yeah.
And he just stares at Chad for a long moment and says, Chandler, perhaps now is not the best time, but I can't stop thinking about Jennifer's necklace and how it was in your bag.
Yeah, what's up, bro? He says he just like smashes another piece of clay.
It's just, it's not like you to not tell me about something like that.
Oh yeah, it was gonna be a surprise.
I know, that's what you said. I
Yeah.
remember that. But that's not like you, Chandler, to hide something like that from me.
Oh, I wasn't thinking about it as like hiding it, bro. It didn't even occur to me like that.
I mean, not just the necklace, but I didn't know that you were still dealing to her.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't tell me to stop.
I I mean, I thought that would have been obvious.
Oh. What?
Because she was no longer a part of our group. I know, you said that's how you got the necklace.
Huh.
That was her paying you.
Yeah.
I don't like the thought that there were all of these interactions between the two of you that I didn't know about.
And I think that's when Chad stops for a minute, and then he turns back to Roman, and he goes to say something, and then he stops, and he looks down and he unzips the bag that he's got, and he pulls out a bottle of water, and he tosses it to him. He's like, and then he pulls one out for himself as well, and he's like, "It's getting fucking hot in here, bro." Cracks it open, and he's gonna take a drink. Yeah, I mean, yeah, bro, I wasn't trying to, like, make you uncomfortable or anything. Just, shit happens, right?
Roman, as you grab that bottle of water, you look down at it. You look down at it just to regard it and look back at Chad as he speaks, and you do a double take because you could have swear you saw a few strands of deep red hair on it, but you look back and that's not there.
And so Chandler just sees Roman, like, now staring at the bottle of water really intently.
You good, bro?
I'm fine, Chandler. I suppose I was just thinking about everything that happened in the wake of that unmitigated disaster.
I was reading some shit about how, like, when we get dehydrated and are in stressful situations, our brains focus on that real fucked up stuff that we've, like, been through, or, like, shit that happens to us. It's real fucked up, bro. Like, I get it. I'm not proud of it, but, like, I've been having some of those thoughts and feelings too. But, like, I know that it's not like, me. It's just this place is fucking with us, Like I don't know, just the whole thing with Laura, right? Like, she could be fucking with us, but like, is she? Like, I don't know. And like this, right? Like this weird, I know you feel it. There's this weird, like, tension shit going on, right? Like, obviously you're upset about this, and, like, I didn't get it when I did it, or I wouldn't have done it, but, like, I get it, and I understand why you're, like, bothered by it. It wasn't like I wasn't trying to hurt you. I was looking out for you. Just this, like, fucked up place has us where we're just focused on the really shitty parts,
I suppose that's a possibility, though. I mean, Chandler, I've never once worried about you hurting me. And Roman takes a sip from the bottle of water.
Chad also takes a sip, and he comes over and he, like, puts his fist out, and he's like, I got you, bro.
Of course. I've never doubted that, Chandler. Not a single day.
Okay, but, like, you heard that shit, right?
I did hear that.
You're gonna yell at me if I reach into the fanny pack, right, bro?
I think that depends on what exactly you're planning on doing, Chandler.
Medication is what I was planning on doing, bro. But you hear it too, so it's not just that I'm sober as fuck.
What did that mean, Chandler?
Roman, you only hear this one. I almost died for you.
I don't know. Like I said, this place is fucking with us, bro.
Is it?
I mean, I can only say so much, right? Because there's, like, ghosts and shit. The fuck do I know? And then Chad takes another, like, deep swig of water.
Chad, as you do regard your fanny pack, at least, you are reminded that you are dangerously low on your supply.
Yes, I am.
Chandler, what else haven't you told me?
What do you mean?
You didn't tell me that you were still dealing to Jennifer.
Right.
You didn't tell me that you had her necklace. What else haven't you told me?
I mean, are you asking me if I fucked her, bro? Because, like, of course not.
That wasn't specifically what I was wondering about, Chandler, but... I suppose that is something.
I mean, look, you know I always got you. I'm always gonna have your back, bro. Especially right now, everything's fucked up, and we're not gonna get out of this shit if we don't pull together. So, like, at the end of this, if we still have these fucking, like, problems and concerns, let's fucking get into it, bro. But right now, we're gonna fucking die here, man. And he's gonna, like, throw the mostly empty water bottle off into just off into debris. We
I
need to
believe
get the fuck out of here.
I believe both of you are well aware of Jennifer's near lethal overdose.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah.
In fact, Laura probably knows about it, but with less context. But Chad, you take your half-empty water bottle and just chuck it into the distance. Are you still holding on to that pipe you had,
Yeah.
that lever? Okay.
Yeah, I still got the lever.
You turn around, plant your foot down, chuck the water bottle into the distance, and you don't even follow the line of it, because as you plant your foot and make that effort, your foot slides on something slick underneath you. And you look down and you do see that there seems to be this weird slimy residue on the floor. And all of those pieces that you have broken off of the fallen crucible, they're not there anymore.
What the fuck, bro? Like picks up my foot and I see like slime.
I will say both of you, if you're in the headspace to look out for this, you don't hear the telltale clanging and rustling of debris that you would assume would happen from a water bottle hitting into anywhere out in this facility. You don't hear a sound.
Chandler, what happened to all of the pieces?
I don't fucking know, bro. Did you move them?
Obviously not. Why would I do something like that?
I don't know, maybe you put them somewhere safe. I don't fucking know, bro.
Do I look like someone who can lift things like that?
That's a good point. You're right. What the fuck, bro?
Alright, we need to get those pieces. We need to get them over there. We need to get into that safe.
Alright, so we gotta find them then.
When there's still plenty left of this giant crucible, you could just get back to it and ship off some more pieces. But you were making some good progress, and that progress has been taken away apparently.
You want me to just break some more shit off?
Or you could go looking. That also works.
What other choice do we have, Chandler?
Yeah, you're right. And then Chad like wipes a little bit of sweat off his brow. All right. Stretch his neck a bit, and he's gonna go back over and start slamming the lever against the pieces of clay of the crucible.
All right. As you get back to it and you slam down into the crucible once more, amongst the clay dust on the ground from where the other pieces have broken, you do find what looks to be a long strand of blonde hair. Just a single blonde hair.
I like pick it up.
Sure.
Can I try to like pluck at it? Yeah, I'm gonna try and like pluck it. Hey, Roman?
Yes, Chandler?
You know the like statue people?
Yes.
Which, again,
Is it-
are all around you.
Is it possible that the statue people are like that there's also people in the, and he like just waves the lever at the crucible that they're breaking up?
I mean, I suppose at this point anything is possible. Why are you asking?
And he's gonna, not realizing that it's pretty impossible to see a single strand of hair from that distance, just kind of hold up his fingers like this.
Well, I suppose we keep breaking it apart and see what we find.
Chad, your right foot is starting to feel hot.
And I look down.
You look down and you see there's this light wisp of grayish smoke coming off from your boot, as there is this slimy substance stuck to the bottom that seems to be melting through the sole of your boot.
And Chad, it's sneakers. Chad wears athletic
Yes,
sneakers.
Sneakers.
Yeah, and Chad will like jump back a bit and be like, "Bro," and then like he's gonna like hop. So he's facing Roman with if whatever like smoke is coming off of it, and then he'll reach down and like pull the shoe off. And he's just holding it, kind of dumbfounded, looking over at Roman.
Chandler, why was your shoe doing that?
I don't know why my shoe was doing that, bro.
I would like to take a look at Chandler's shoe.
Chad will immediately toss Roman the shoe.
All right. It's fairly evident just from initial inspection that it is slick with this sort of grayish greenish slime. Real thin layer. It's sort of coagulated and thickened at this point from where the rubber of the sole has sort of mixed and started to dilute down whatever may have been corroding it. So it is stopping. But there is this weird slime on it.
Chandler, do you think we could use whatever the substance is to burn a hole?
I mean, maybe we'd have to find a way to bring it over, though.
We could use the clay pieces, couldn't we?
That's a good fucking idea, bro. Okay, but I'm gonna need some help carrying that shit. That's too much. And it's gonna, like, if it spills, that shit's gonna burn me. So I'm gonna need you to help me carry it. I know that's not really your thing usually, but, like, we'll find some small pieces, right?
Of course, Chandler. Of course.
Alright, yeah, that's a good call, Roman. You're so fucking smart, bro. You're so fucking smart.
I know I am, Chandler. I know.
Alright, finish up that bottle so you can carry this shit with me. He's gonna start pulling like the pieces that look like they can like be used to carry stuff.
And Roman will drink about half of the bottle before holding on to the rest of it.
All right.
For once we finish this.
Mm-hmm.
Where does Roman put the rest of it, by the way? Like, where does he put the bottle?
Honestly, he probably puts it back with the others, like tosses it back to Chad to put with the others, because he doesn't carry his own things.
That makes sense. I like
Chad
that.
carries them for him.
Yeah, and I think Chad will catch it easily enough without even looking. And when he goes to like put it back in the bag, I think that's when the camera will linger there for a moment, if it's okay with me taking this moment to. And I think as Chad's hand moves, it does become apparent that this bottle was the bottle that has the little divot in the cap. All
right. As Roman, you take your last swig from this bottle, toss it back to be put in the bag. Start going over collecting these ceramic pieces, gather them up, turn around, start looking around and making your way back to the steel bubble. I will say, Roman, you, not Chad, but you, Roman, as you pass by these golden people pillars, anytime you look at the head area, you start to see a face begin to form from any direction you look at it. And these are such vague people-shaped pillars that you're not really sure, what is front, what is back. Even if you're looking at them from the side, along what could be a shoulder, you still see a face begin to form from the gold. But basically, as soon as you realize that, and purposely think of it, consider speaking about it or internalizing it, it's smooth again. But the whispers seem louder to you and more intelligible. You can hear purposely that they are screaming about fires and explosions, checking on each other, calling out the names of people around them, shouting to get away from this piece of machinery, or to call the foreman, or cursing and screaming about the conditions here. You can hear the cries of pain and fear.
And I do think there comes a point where there certainly comes more than one point where Roman pauses and stops. And then I think in response to a particularly loud scream, he does drop one of the pieces of clay.
You good, bro?
I'm fine, Chandler. My hand slipped.
You sure?
Of course I'm sure. Why wouldn't I be sure, Chandler?
You're right, bro. I'm sorry. I'm just, I'm just trying to look out for you. We're in a fucked up situation. I know you said you don't have a concussion, but you're definitely dehydrated. It's hot. Weird shit is happening. We're way past weird shit at this point, bro. I'm just looking out for you, man. You know that's what I do.
And I know that is what you do, Chandler. I know that's what you've always done for me.
Yeah, I got you, bro.
I don't need that right now. I just
Okay.
need us to get in, to get to the safe, and to be able to leave.
Yeah, for sure. We got this. We got this. You know we got this.
How
Fucking
can we
hype.
make the plan like this?
All right. So with that, I think our camera is going to pull back quickly again as we see the boys gathering these materials and making their way back. But I will say, Roman, you take 3 ticks against your death's door with the major injury of drugged.
No.
And unfortunately, Chad is the only one who could possibly recognize that this is a major injury and necessitate treatment. So you now have a major injury. Going forward, for the demo play side of things, when you take injuries, specifically, you take a certain amount of damage, 1 for minor, 3 for major, and 9 for grievous. When each player has a total, HP of 29, you have 29 ticks of a death's door counter, represented by 3 d8s. That's not 29, that's 27. 3 9 segment circles. If I can, there you go. Death's door. And when you take a major or grievous injury, you get a penalty, a mechanical penalty to your roll. So having a major injury sets the lowest check difficulty to medium. So even if Roman or somebody else sets up the perfect situation to make a check very easy, Roman is still going to have a medium difficulty time at it. All right. With that, we are going to zoom past through this slowly dispersing field of golden people-shaped pillars. And very briefly, for audience members paying close attention to the cinematics that we can't see because this actually is not a television show, you get this real quick glimpse here and there as the camera is flying past of what looks like Laura's hand holding onto something over here, and then over there, and then over there. And then over there. But you'd have to be paying close attention to it. Don't look away, don't blink, don't take a drink or anything. But the camera zooms back over, and through the golden archway silhouette of the light shining into the coke silo, the metallurgical coke silo. And we see in the briefest stage lighting, Laura sort of fumbling around trying to maneuver because this is a multiple story high, and you are on like the third story now of a silo, a storage silo. So you are on this little catwalk that sort of spirals around. Every now and then there's a ladder that you will need to go down in various states of disrepair. So we see Laura stumbling about in the darkness, trying to make your way down. So let me ask, and this is probably something that Laura thinks of at this point, because it didn't come up sooner. You didn't really bring a container or a vessel of any kind, did you, to carry all of the coke that you're going to need? Because you're probably going to need a sizable quantity of it.
Oh, no, I didn't. I forgot.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So you could, if you wanted to ruin your clothes, just take your shirt and make it into a nice little cloth bucket there.
That's where Laura's at. That's exactly where Laura's at. She's gonna tie off the bottom of her shirt, and a tank top is basically shopping bag shaped.
There you go.
If you do that.
Yeah.
She's wearing like a sports bra. It's the 90s. That's the thing.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, because she also gave her coat to Roman already.
Yeah.
She lent him her windbreaker.
So through no action of my own, as the GM, Laura is quickly losing articles of clothing.
This is a horror movie.
That is true. You are the girl in the horror
she's
movie.
Gaining a weapon.
Yes.
Yeah. We gotta hit the tropes as we go.
I'm gonna outlive you all.
We'll see.
Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
So yeah, Laura is like, fuck, didn't bring any fucking son of a bitch. Absolute moron behavior. Fuck. Okay.
All right.
Coke. Where do I find it? What does it look like?
Well, if there was proper lighting, it would basically look like little lumps of deep gray rock, basically. I mean, it's basically coal that has been, burnt down and refused into its most distilled form. So they're these very very dense looking gray rocks. I believe Jack has never interacted with metallurgical coal himself, but I believe looking at pictures, that's about what I can see. I'm not going to double and triple jeopardy of having you climb up and down multiple times. You are good enough at it, and you have willpower to spend if need be. So you do make your way down, stumbling through. I will say, I know I just said that, it is dark, it is in disrepair. You are stumbling around trying to hold a shirt and shirt bag and looking for things. Do make me one more clumsiness check at a hard difficulty.
One more, okay.
Yeah, do make me one more hard difficulty clumsiness check, and that will cover getting down and back up of this storage silo. And your previous roll will also cover climbing down from the coke works as well.
None of them are ones. We're good.
All right, there you go.
We're good.
Easily enough. That was just in case you needed to spend willpower.
Yeah. Laura's like, you know what? The little prince is right. Let's burn everything. I'm with little Lord Fauntleroy all of a sudden. Let's burn everything to the fucking ground, Papa. Fuck place. No, yeah, no, I'm coming around. I'm coming around to the burn everything. Okay. Hello, little fuel sources.
The camera pauses. Real quick. The camera pauses. Real quick, because you just said a thing. Or at least bought a thing. Laura.
But
it's dark in here. You make your way down a ladder, and you hit the floor sooner than you expected because you were actually standing on the buildup of coke that has been dropped into this silo. It's uneven ground, so you kind of stumble a bit. Turn around, you are standing on the storage of coke itself, and it's dark. And then you realize it's not as dark as it was. There's this vague orange glow, and you look to the side, and you see a trail of smoke as there is a flash of yellow, red, or red, orange, yellow, white. Boom!
oh fuck.
As there seems to be, for some reason that you cannot fathom right now, some level of ignition that has lit at least a section of this coke. And it bursts into flames, the concussive force of it, sending you flying backwards into the wall of this facility. And you can feel rapidly the heat beginning to ramp up, and you can see the light level beginning to get brighter and brighter as more and more pieces of coal begin to catch and glow. I need you to make me a frailty check as you are slammed hard against the side of this silo.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna call this is just gonna be medium difficulty.
This medium?
That's the
I
default.
fail anyway.
All right, yeah, because you have 4 dots in frailty.
I have 4 in frailty.
You may be graceful, but you're
Laura's
not terribly sturdy.
She's not tough. She's
You
just an asshole.
slam backwards into the side of this silo. Now, Locus does specifically say that for the most part, any injury you take outside of combat in regards to, just interacting with environments or failing a check should just be a minor injury of 1 damage and no penalties. But this, technically,
But the rules, Jack.
unbeknownst to yourselves as characters, and even to yourselves as players, this is technically a monster attack. So you are going to take a minor injury of 3 notches on your death's door.
I'm so mad at you.
And I'm going to give you the minor injury of concussion.
Yay!
A minor concussion, but you hit your head hard. You slump to the ground, stand up quickly, your vision blurry, and you realize it is quickly getting hot in here. You can see fire, and you can see it is quickly spreading, because you are literally standing inside of a grill.
Yeah, I think Laura is stubborn enough to scoop what coke she can into her shirt bag, because this is our key to getting out of here. I'm not abandoning it, and then fucking bail.
Okay.
Jeez.
I love when you guys give me gifts. They're such nice gifts.
You're mean to me. You are mean.
I've been putting down clues, and I don't know if you guys have been picking them up.
No, we're stupid.
Because you are trying to purposely do something with a narrative impact that will take decisive action in a situation that is clearly dangerous and growing more and more dangerous, I am going to need you to roll something to gather this coke.
Cowardice.
Cowardice. Okay, you are fighting your own fear to leave. I love that. You are all about self-preservation. So you are fighting against that because you know you need this substance. Now again,
Exactly.
failure here, you are still going to gather the coke because you need it for the story to continue. But you could be faced with new consequences and potential injury. So go ahead and
More
roll
hours.
me a cowardice check. This is just going to be medium difficulty. You have 1 dot in cowardness, so unless you
Yeah.
roll 2 1s, you should be good.
I did.
Nice.
All right, nice.
Because, like, I think Laura is afraid of this fire, but I think she has that psychopath rationality where, like, even though she's afraid,
Yeah.
there's a part of her that's still planning, and she's like, no, this is I'm more afraid of being stuck here
Yeah.
than I am of this fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has to get done, so it's getting done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The camera sees in the dim stage lighting that we have here the initial confusion, pain, and panic on Laura's face, and then you do get that sort of psychopathic clarity as we see the cogs in the brain move. And Laura, you know you have a minute max to get this, but you do have a minute before you literally burn to death. And we see you just start shoveling coal into what is left of, or coke into what is left of your pink shirt, and sort of throw it over your back and begin climbing up out of this silo, which you do
Yeah.
manage to do. But we do see, as you are running down the length of the bridge that would transport this coke, we see the roar of flames emitting from the archway access point.
Good news is I can see now.
Yeah, yep. And we see you probably not dashing because, you know, it's still a precarious situation, but very fast walking your way away from what is literally tons and tons of extremely volatile substance mere meters away from you.
I leave.
The boys,
Yes.
you hear an explosion and the distance and the roar of fire.
If I may,
Yes.
I think if we can cut back right before that we hear that explosion, as we've have we already collected? Would we have collected everything we needed and be heading back at this point?
Mm-hmm.
So I think as we're walking back, there's a moment when the camera cuts back where there's just kind of silent footsteps as the two of them are walking, and then Chad kind of like looks over at Roman, and then he's like, you know, I need to tell you something, bro. And then there's the explosion.
I love it, and I hate it, but I love it. And I think because the drugs are starting to affect Roman's system, that we also notice, like, Roman reacting to the explosion just like half a second off.
And a little less sure on your feet as you turn, and you're far enough away that you're not being hit with any sort of blast wave or anything, but we do see Roman stumble a bit anyone paying attention could probably see, or I think the camera will zoom in very quickly to see just dilated eyes. But does this explosion change what you were going to say and do?
What the fuck was that, bro?
Chandler, we need to keep going.
What if she tried to blow this shit up without us?
Then we still need to keep going.
Yeah, you're right. Come on. And Chad's gonna kind of speed up a bit.
And I will say, because Roman is now starting to have trouble walking, that probably for the first time he's really needed to ever, he calls out, "Chandler, wait."
Yeah, what's up, bro?
You're going too fast.
I'll slow down for you, bro. And he'll purposely like slow his walk, and he'll almost fall like one step behind Roman, so that if needed, he can kind of usher him forward gently. You got this, bro. We got this. Kept saying you need to stay hydrated, bro. It's getting real fucking hot, man.
It is. Could you give me that bottle of water?
Yeah, I got you, bro. And he'll noticing that I assume Roman's hands are full with the stuff. He's like, do you want me to, like, what do you wanna?
Yes, if you could hold it up, yes.
Yeah, I got you, bro. And he's gonna put down the like lever, and he will pour however much of the water Roman would like down Roman's throat, and maybe a couple extra drops under the guise of not understanding that he was being told to stop right away.
We see this as the camera is just over Chad's shoulder, looking directly at the dilated eyes of Roman, trying to drink down all of this water that Chad is pouring, too much of too quickly. So we see it sort of cascading down the chin and onto your clothes, Roman. Yeah. All right. Noted.
And once it's done, or Roman, a couple seconds after Roman tells him to stop, he will ditch the bottle, pick the lever back up.
You turn around with this to grab the lever, and the lever is not there. And you see this trail of... It's hard to make out color, but you see this glistening trail of almost like slug slime leading off further away. Actually, vaguely in the direction of Laura, actually.
Oh. Okay. Shit.
Not exactly. Kind of vaguely off to a little bit of a tangent, but away from where you're going at the very least.
The fucking ghost stole my fucking bar, bro.
We don't need that anymore, Chandler. We just need to get to the safe.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. We don't need that anymore. Thanks, bro.
You push forward back towards the steel bubble, and as you are converging on that, we see Laura sort of between fast walking and running her way back to where you guys are. And as the two of you turn to see what's causing the commotion of these footsteps and whatnot, the two of you turn, the boys, you turn and look towards Laura. And you see Laura come around from behind a piece of machinery, now in just a sports bra, carrying a big, very, very dirty and a little bit singed, actually, pink shirt. That seems to be, holding something heavy. There's a little trickle of blood down the side of her face. And then you see this... You almost don't see it. Or you initially disregard it, because how could it be a thing? But you see this nearly translucent gray tendril of slime reach around the side of the machinery behind her. Laura, go ahead and roll me.
What do you want me to roll?
This,
Temper? I'll yell. If it's temper, I'll fail. I'll yell.
No,
it's fine.
No, it's not temper. I'm going to say...
Not yet.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I have to be fair. because this is the check I would give everyone else, regardless of how good you are at it. Go ahead and roll me yet another clumsiness check as this
Yeah.
tendril of goop tries to wrap itself around your ankle.
Absolutely not.
I am going to call this. Actually, this is not just interacting with the environment. This is an actual monster now, which means we drop into a conflict check, which is actually contested. So you are going to roll 3d6 and compare all three of those results to your 1 dot in carelessness. And I am going to regard my monster here, the gluttonous gatekeeper, and it's going to roll its 3 dice and consult its attack value. Let me grab my dice here. All right. That is 4 successes for my monster.
3 successes for Laura. Because I only
Okay.
have 3 dice, Jack.
Yep. A net of 1 success is going to be a minor injury. So you're going to take 1 damage as this tendril wraps around your ankle. You don't see it coming. So you feel this tug on your ankle as you try to take that next step forward, and it is just ripped out from under you, and you go tumbling downward. You fall sort of half on this bag of coke that you are carrying. You can feel it jab into your side, and your shoulder hits hard on the concrete ground. You only take 1 point against your death's door, and you don't have to worry about an actual injury. But you are
Mad.
you are mad. Go ahead and additionally make me either a frailty or a clumsiness check at medium difficulty, because this is an actual infliction of the monster. It is trying to seize you.
I'm not. No grabbing. Clumsiness. No grabbing.
All right.
Consent is key, and the monster does not have it.
I
Yep.
succeed.
All right. You do succeed. You look back, see this Scrabble, and actually kick at your own ankle. And your 1 foot does sort of squish against this substance, and you do feel the brunt of that kick actually hit your own ankle. Not enough to do damage to yourself, but enough to cause this slime to actually recoil from you as you Scrabble away. And we see as the tendril pulls itself back, we see a few other tendrils
Son of a bitch!
and we see a number of these almost like octopus tentacle things sort of lurch what is this larger gelatinous blob of a body out from behind a piece of machinery, and it looks almost Ursula from The Little Mermaid-esque, where it's this large body and these gelatinous blobs of tendrils at the bottom, but it culminates up into what looks like a relatively old gentleman in a very nice suit,
I love it.
looking down on the group of you, sort of standing almost 12, 15 feet tall, with a number of tendrils, these gelatinous tendrils coming out from beneath the suit jacket sleeves. Looking in your direction, one of those tendrils again whipping towards Laura, another one whipping out towards some other things, another one whipping out towards the boys, and that is where we are going to take our break.
Yay!
I love it.
All right. It has been an eventful first half, and it's going to be an even more eventful second half. So we're going to take about a 10-minute break or so. We're gonna try to keep it quick, and I'm going to encourage everybody to keep it quick because we have a lot to fit in, and we started late. So we're going to take about a 10-minute break or so. Go get up, stretch, do your human things you need to do, but make sure to plant your butt right back down here at about 10 minutes because we have yet another Malus Locus monster to deal with. I will give you a hint. This is actually Chad's personal monster. So they are going to have to deal with that and potentially get more details on what that means.
Good.
And they are going to have to enact this plan and find some way into the steel bubble all before we call it for the day. So go enjoy your break, enjoy the music. There's going to be a real quick ad, and I will also take this time to remind you, if you enjoy this show, if you enjoy these fabulous people, you could go to the Ko-Fi and help support the entire channel, but even beyond that, I would urge you to scroll down and just check out the Mayhem meter, because I want to be able to give back to these amazing people, this amazing cast. So go hit that Mayhem meter, tip if you can. Every $50, something awesome is going to happen, and this would be the perfect time for it. So over the break, if you can, maybe throw a few tips into the Mayhem meter, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes or so. Enjoy your break. Hello, everyone out there. We are back for the second half of Iron, Coke, and Conscience, our Locus demo play mini-series. All right, we are picking up in the start of a very potentially tense situation. The cast here has formulated a pretty fine plan on how to proceed. They're going to gather a whole bunch of coke, make a little crucible, get it all nice and hot, maybe see if they can add a little explosive potential, and see if they can melt/blast through this steel bubble that seems to be encasing the administrative center of the Jolston Steelworks facility, looking for a safe that holds some sort of secrets to where they are and what is going on. But as they were gathering those materials and making their way back together, they were attacked by seemingly yet another monster of this Malus Locus. And that is where we are going to pick up. The first thing we are going to do, in fact, I need... Well, it's been yet another hour, so we're going to start by giving everybody a new card.
Yay.
No.
Yeah. Another diamond for everybody's favorite Roman here. Is that 10 cards now?
Yep.
10 cards and 3 haunt cards. Excellent. Excellent. Roman is fraying, mentally dislocated at this point, and probably very upset for multiple different reasons. Also, he is starting to trip balls and working his way towards a grievous drug injury. But we're not there yet. Let's check out Lion and Chandler here. That is a 9 of spades.
Oh,
That's
a neutral card.
For Chad, a neutral card. Excellent. And Laura, an 8 of spades, which is in fact a virtue card. So we can discard that, and you get another 3 willpower.
Heck yeah.
Laura's thriving.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of willpower. You haven't had to spend
ways.
very much. I need to find new ways to challenge your particular characters, and one of those ways might be throwing a giant gelatinous acidic monster at you.
I'm so pissed off at this monster.
Yup.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've spent willpower. I've gone from 8 down to 3. Now I'm at 11. It's a good day.
Ooh. All right. All right. Well, now that is taken care of, we also need to look at stress, I believe. Yes, stress. Anytime you see a monster in Locus, or at least the first time, if it happens a bunch of times, you may become, callous to the fact that monsters are trying to kill you. But this is the first time you've actually seen this particular gelatinous monster in its entire form. So I need everybody to roll me a stress test. This is going to be a medium test, as they usually are for regular stress tests. And I'll leave it to each of you individually whether this is temper or repulsion or cowardice.
But I think if this is Chad's personal monster,
And I
think
will
this is
say, to that point, in fact, Chad, nobody else, I believe, has this context, but as this gelatinous goo form sort of solidifies and corporealizes into a humanoid shape at the top, it looks vaguely, even more than vaguely, like your father. You can see that facial shape, even though it's sort of amorphous. You can see that it looks like it is wearing a similar suit to what he normally wears. A little portlier, perhaps, and the gelatinous goo tendrils are a new lifestyle choice, but very reminiscent of your father, which I know you have a particularly strained relationship with. So if that changes anything, I'll leave that to you.
Oh, I more than anything, it confirms that I think cowardice is the way
Okay.
that Chad's gonna have to roll here.
All right. In fact, I'm going to say, because this is Chad's personal monster, it takes from Chad's memories, it takes from Chad's fears and desires and grief, and that will come to... We'll see that even more, but just this visage, I think, is going to strike Chad a little bit heavier than everybody else. So Roman and Laura, you have a medium difficulty stress test. Chad, yours is hard.
Hard? Yes, love it.
Locus usually recommends away from changing difficulty for different people, but I think it makes sense in this case.
So, I got a 3. 4, 4, 3.
Against cowardice?
My cowardice, which is a 2.
Which is a 2, so you still succeed. All right.
Yeah.
Roman.
I failed.
Okay, would you like to spend a willpower to try to keep that stress down?
Yes.
Okay. If your stress goes up, it costs more willpower to re-roll more dice. What you got?
I am good. My middle die was a 5.
All right. Got you to eat one of your willpower, but you do succeed. Cat.
I rolled against cowardice and succeeded.
Of course
Laura's
you did.
not afraid of shit. She's just mad.
Yep. Now that makes... Well,
Would that be against temper?
would
then?
that be against temper then? Yeah. Are you
mean,
fighting your
here's the
fear
thought.
or are you fighting your anger?
She's not fighting her anger.
Okay.
Her anger is fighting her fear, and her anger won.
All right, I'll go for it. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool.
Like she does not like this thing, but she is so much more pissed off at it
Mhm.
than she is afraid of it.
All right.
And so the urge to smash it is
Love it. Love
first
it.
and foremost in her mind.
Yes, please do smash this gelatinous goo monster.
I'm gonna smash the yuck, man.
Yep,
I'm
yep.
gonna, and I don't think I should smash the yuck, man. I don't think that's a wise idea because you just told me to do it. And
Well-
you're making that face you make, but I'm gonna do it.
I don't make any faces.
This one.
All right. I believe that's all we need to take care of before we jump back into the action of our story. So we leave. We left off and we pick up now with Laura, the closest to this particular monster, still probably a good 3-4 meters away. I don't know why I'm doing meters. I'm in Shadowrun brain for some reason. But 3-4 meters away. What is that? About less than 15 feet, I believe. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. About 15 feet away or so, though we're not using tactical battle maps. That's not really a consideration in Locus, mostly narrative. You are the closest. You are technically on the ground. I'm not really going to give you the prone condition or anything. It's not going to affect your action economy or what there is in Locus. But you are the closest. You are on the ground, and you just kicked away from one of these tendrils that tried to grab at you. And you can look behind, and you do see this semi-translucent, grayish-green, probably more gray now in the dim light and the soot and the debris of, all of this debris. And you can see it forms up in several long, amorphous, lashing tendrils up into this older-suited gentleman of some kind. You are there. The boys, Chad and Roman, are even further away, probably a good, 50 feet or so away, 50, 60 feet, doing your own things. You still have, arms full of ceramic tiles and whatnot, heading back to the steel bubble when you turn around and see all this commotion. And I think, briefly, before we get into rolling initiative, if that is what you guys want to do, briefly, we see Laura scrabble away a few more feet away from this creature, this monster, as we see it pull in its tendrils a little bit more, sort of stand up even taller, now cresting 15 feet high or so. And this is a stance, Chad, that you see your father take all the time when he is particularly him. Shoulders up and back and flat, sort of looking down his nose at the three of you, with a very judgmental face. But his eyes do seem to flicker, and they don't move in concert with each other. They can do that sort of chameleon thing, chameleon iguana thing, where one eye goes over here and another eye goes over that way. And it seems to be looking, each of these eyes sort of flash at each of you and then down to the things you are holding, looks at the ceramic tiles, looks at this collection of coke, looks back over at the steel bubble. You can see inside one of its tendrils, one of its arms tendrils, it kind of bulges at the end, and inside you see a number of ceramic plates slowly washing around inside this goo. In another tendril, you see, sort of floating in this goo, the steel lever that Chad you previously had. And you can see a number of these other tendrils slowly starting to snake towards you, towards your stuff, towards the steel bubble, and even out into the vague area around you. And in fact, in one of its leg tendrils towards the back, you see a water bottle. But this creature of some kind sort of amoebas its way a little bit closer and looks down at the three of you. Welcome to Jolston. Why would you want to leave? Why would I let you? My new lection.
I actually don't give a fuck if you're going to let me. You need to be way faster to get the better of this bitch, so genuinely, fuck off. And I'm going to get my tire iron and commence bashing. I'm pissed.
All here is mine. Everyone roll initiative. So, in Locus, initiative is, let me remind myself, I believe it is your normal 3d6, because in Locus everything is 3d6. You total your three results together, and then you subtract your amount of, I believe it is clumsiness, but let me double check yeah. Yes. No, you subtract your carelessness rating.
Oh.
It's your situational awareness that you subtract. Yeah.
Good.
3d6, total them together, subtract your carelessness rating. The more careless you are, the less aware of your surrounding you will be. And I will roll the same for my monster here. I will need to move to another section of notes. My dice seem to be in Shadowrun mode as well, because 5s and 6s just popping off. Love it.
Love it.
All right.
No.
Let's see.
Yay. I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna beat up your dad, and I'm not sorry.
Don't be sorry, please.
I hate
Fuck
him.
him up.
I hate everyone, but I hate him a lot.
I think we're all on the same page then.
Right. Roman, what you got?
7.
7. Chad.
10.
10. Laura.
10.
10. All right. Not fast enough, Laura.
Not is he fast enough to get the better of this particular bitch?
Sounds like he might be.
Like I said, I got my Shadowrun dice rolling today.
I'm
Apparently.
so mad at you right now.
Coming in with an initiative score of 13.
Oh my god.
I hate him.
All right. So
I would have had to roll 3 6s to to do better than him.
Really? Let me make sure I counted that correctly. Hold up. No, I do math bad. That is in fact
Sounded worse.
a 10.
It sounded Oh.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
no.
Ah!
For some reason, it seems like a lot of TTRPG players are bad at math. Not sure why that's the case, but I'm definitely one of them.
Good at it.
You
Okay,
would think that'd be like our bread and butter or something.
right. Because there are three entities, all at the same rating, and since one of them is a monster entity, I don't think there are actually rules in this. I think as the GM, I usually have fiat to decide who goes where. But I'm
like to, if it's okay, I'd like to request to be the last of the three. I think of the three of them, Chad will have the slowest reaction time in this instance.
okay.
If that's okay.
Based on having a small clumsiness, I was gonna say Laura's fucking fast. Like.
Yeah, no, that does make sense comparing it to your. Well, there's clumsiness and there's carelessness.
This is true.
Yeah.
This isn't a situational awareness. This is just like she's pissed and it's hit time. She hit now.
Yeah. No, I'll let you go first there, Laura.
Yeah. I mean, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna hit the big goo man, and
Yeah.
you want me to hit the goo man.
Who hit the goo man?
You're trying to bait me into striking the goo man with a tire iron, and I'll do it. I'll do it for you.
All right.
And I'll do it because I hate him.
Yep.
I will strike the goo man, but what I would like to say is that in the interests of weapon procurement, I would like to strike at the limb that contains the rebar.
Okay. Good to know.
Just in case this is a situation where the goo comes away. I don't know. I strike the goo man with tire iron.
Let me do some quick record keeping right there. So we got the ceramic plates. We got the.
For some reason, I feel like the goo is not weak against tire iron, but my Pokemon types are pretty out of date, so I'm not sure.
So we had the ceramic plates. We had the lever.
No, it's neutral.
There was the water bottle, which really isn't that big of a deal. And there wasn't there something else?
Ceramics, water bottle, the lever. I think that was it.
Yeah, that might have been it.
I think so.
Okay. So it is currently holding. I'm gonna say.
I was thinking about Goodra, and Goodra is a neutral.
Oh, we love Goodra.
Type. We do love Goodra.
I am not up to date on my Pokemans.
Oh, Goodra's so cute.
Goodra is pretty cute.
He's a big slimy dragon, and he's pink and friendly.
All right.
Yeah.
I love him.
Well, now, let's see. I really should be looking in the right document for this. Laura, you are going to go first.
I strike the Yuck Man.
All right. So, attacking with a weapon because you do have your lead pipe. Now, in Locus, fisticuffs isn't going to work on supernatural monsters. It's just not going to do it. In order to make an attack that has any chance of actually doing any damage, you need a purposeful weapon. Fortunately, Laura does have one. Unfortunately, I stole Chad's. But there's debris laying all over the place, and you guys can get creative. Laura, you run forward and sort of slash at this gelatinous form with a lead pipe.
Tire
iron. Tire iron. So, making an attack. You are going to roll your normal 3d6 and consult that against your, I believe, making an attack.
The F word.
Yeah, frailty. Yeah, it's gonna be frailty.
Listen, she's not strong. She's just mean.
Yeah. You're not really going at this with any finesse. You are overcome by your temper. So we are going to call this frailty. You're going to have to roll with your frailty, because this is a weapon. It is going to give you an automatic +1 to your net successes. But because you are using a weapon that is particularly ineffective against goo, it's going to be a -1 to your net successes. So that cancels each other out. It's just your result. 0?
Okay. No, I have to roll.
No, go ahead and roll. Yeah.
I I'm just understanding
Yes.
the modifier is 0.
Exactly.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Go, Laura, go. Roll lots of 5s. Go, Laura, go. Roll them again.
Spending a willpower.
Yeah.
And this is a contested check against the monster's resist score, and then we will compare net successes.
Ooh.
All right, so it gets 2. You get 2, if I heard that correctly.
Yes.
So that is a net of 0. You connect with this tire iron, but connecting, I mean, you're basically hitting a lead pipe into a pool of gelatin. It does slam into it and slash into the form of this creature, but as it moves through, it just as quickly closes back up, and in fact, you pull it away and the tire iron is gently smoking from the acidity
Son
of
a
this creature.
bitch.
All right.
I hate the man.
Yes. Next up, we have the Gatekeeper. Let me quickly consult. Yes. Yes, all right.
All that's yours is mine now. In my domain. You are mine. Your toys are my toys. I want everything you have.
And it is going to... Monsters can affect one of the party with its infliction, if it has an affliction, and it can also take an attack on its turn. So I think with this, let's see. First of all, let me ask Laura, what did you do with your shirt full of Coke? You just leave it on the ground, or are you trying to hold on to it?
No, he's a snatch man who snatches. I keep it.
Did you put that together before you decided to attack, though? I'll let you,
No.
if you think that's the case, but just reminding you sort of the turn over
I'm
here.
torn,
Yeah.
because on one hand, Laura hasn't witnessed him doing snatch and takes.
Mm-hmm.
But he does have objects that he's snatched and taked.
Mm-hmm.
And he did give a lecture about possessiveness.
You briefly mentioned it. Sure, yeah. You know what? Let me actually have you, since you did say you are torn.
Ignorance?
Yeah, go ahead and roll me an ignorance check for Laura. You have 3 dots in that. We're gonna say it's medium difficulty. So you basically have a 50-50. No, you could spend a willpower if you would.
No, I think what Laura did was tossed it somewhere that was like out of the way, like a safe distance along the floor, closer to the bubble.
All right. What is a safe distance? You're not exactly sure about. These tendrils seem to be quite
Yeah, I think
grabby.
it's mostly so her primary concern is so that it's not underfoot when we're fighting
Yeah,
monster.
gotcha.
I don't think Laura's thinking about snatching it.
Exactly. All right. So with that, it's going to use its infliction seize, not against one of you, but against all of that Coke. And Laura, we see one of these tendrils shoot out past you, and you do dodge out of the way of it, and it's not until after you move out of the way that you realize it was not attacking you. It was lashing towards what you just threw away from yourself, and this goo wraps around your shirt and around the Coke, and it doesn't lash it back to itself, it just sort of throws out a tendril which goops around this stuff you had on the floor. And then it is going to make an attack. It's going to lurch forward a little bit, and it's going to make an attack actually at Chad. It is going to lash out at Chad.
Oh, good.
So Chad, go ahead and roll me knowing what this monster does and how it is behaving, I will let you decide whether this is a frailty check for you, whether you just want to try to, body blow this and absorb the impact, or if you want to use, you're pretty good with both of these, clumsiness to dodge out of the way.
So generally, I think Chad would just try and eat it, but I think in this particular instance, with everything going on and with who this thing represents, I think I'm gonna go with clumsiness. He's going to try and avoid.
Gotcha.
So I compare all of them to my clumsiness. Is that how this one works?
Correct.
Okay, cool. So I got 6, 4, 3. We broke the doubles, but that's 3 successes.
Okay. It only got 2, so it does not succeed in hitting you.
Awesome. Yeah, I think so when the camera cuts back over to Chad, I think following one of the tendrils as it goes after him, maybe even, there's a moment where Chad is someone who generally has good posture. He's an athlete. He prides himself on things like that, but he is rigid. He is absolutely like stone frozen, perfect posture, chin up, chest out, shoulders up and separated. And there's like a clear, I don't know if any of them will notice, because I know Laura is preoccupied and Roman is distracted, but there is a pause, and in what one would expect Chad to just kind of try and truck his way through it, he does sort of like throw himself to the side towards Roman, because he still wants to angle himself with Roman in mind for the time being. But yeah, he throws himself out of the way, stumbling, kind of almost dropping the pieces of clay that he has in the process, and has like his back against Roman as he moves out of the way of this tendril, Mr. Grabby Goops.
All right.
And it's just like, bro.
Well, that does lead us directly into your turn, so please continue.
And he's gonna look over at Roman, and then there's a moment where, and Roman's probably seen this like maybe a couple of times, but his eyes look like they are burning. He is angry, brow is furrowed. There's a couple of like little wrinkled divots in his forehead, and he's gonna kind of jam the ceramic into Roman's hands. It's kind of overloading almost, and he's like, hold this shit, bro. And then he turns back, and then he's gonna look around to see if there's something he can grab, and whatever large thing he can grab that he feels like he could lift and throw, he's gonna like pick up, and then he's gonna be like, who's the piggy now, you fat sack of shit? And then fling it.
All right. Yeah, there's enough debris around, especially if you're just looking for something big and heavy to throw, as opposed to a purposefully wielded weapon. So I'm gonna,
no unique tool or anything.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make you like search around for anything. You can just go over and actually, you're far enough away from that at this point. Yeah, you can go over, and you're close enough at this point that part of a ceiling beam that almost impaled you earlier, you can go over, you can rip that out and chuck it at the gatekeeper. Go ahead and roll me. I assume this is going to be a frailty check for sheer physical force, which you are quite good at.
Yes, I am.
I'm going to roll that against the resist value of the gatekeeper. I really
can make that come up. There it is.
I really want to play some Shadowrun, guys. Yeah. Set this up.
All right, to keep it so that it stays visible, it keeps trying to ghost out.
Triple sixes. All right.
There we go. It is triple sixes.
Nice. So that is a critical success. That doesn't necessarily mean anything for the attack itself, but the critical does still apply, which means you do. Where's my critical chart there? Yep, which means you restore 3 willpower, so you get even more willpower.
14.
Oh boy, I gotta really make next session full of difficult checks.
Yes, torture the shit out of me, please.
Yep. And you are able to discard a non-haunt card from your hand, so a neutral card you can toss.
All right, so then let's get rid of this 10 of diamonds that's been here since the beginning. We're moving up and on to worse things.
All right. So I will say, actually, with your sheer physicality, and I kind of gave this one to you without really thinking of it, it is a sharp object. Not necessarily meant to be wielded as a weapon, but it certainly can by somebody with your physicality. So I am actually going to give you the +1 net successes for that, and then the -1 for attacking goo with essentially a piercing weapon. But that does equal out to 3 with that critical. It only got 2, so you do an injury to this creature.
Oh yeah.
Now that is just a minor injury to this creature. One box on its
Good to
death's
know
door.
that on the best roll I could get, I can do a minor injury to it. This is good.
Yeah, monsters in Locus are. I mean, this is a horror. This is a horror show, a horror movie. You aren't really necessarily supposed to be able to go toe-to-toe with a monster. Nope. Most monsters in Locus you should probably run and hide from if given the choice. But the question is the gatekeeper giving you that choice? Is there a different way you could try to work around this? Is there anything you can infer from how it is interacting that might give you an advantage? So you chuck this beam into it. And I think, actually, it does pierce into it and kind of recoils from it. It takes a little longer for the goo to reform around it, and the fake visage of your father scowls at you.
You get fucked, you fat sack of shit.
And you can see that joist move through its body and out to one of these other tendrils. In fact.
Oh, fuck, bro, that didn't work.
Down into another one of those tendrils, and actually the sharp point of it is sticking out, almost like he has a spiked glove on or something. But that is you. That's going to bring us around to Roman. Now, Roman, first and foremost, Chad, the pack mule of the group, who usually carries things for you, is not only not carrying your stuff, but just tossed all of his stuff onto you. So before you even act, I would like you to make me a frailty check. I will say frailty or clumsiness.
Gonna be the same problem either way, so...
All right.
I'm just going to accept that failure, because I rolled 2 4s and a 6, and meets it does not beats it, and
nope.
The chances of me getting a 5 are very low.
Okay, so you stumble backwards. You have a whole bunch of these heavy ceramic plates. You can't bear the weight. Your arms buckle. You're high as fuck right now. And you try to compensate that weight by taking a step backwards, you don't really understand what is happening quickly enough to just drop the tiles. So you teeter backwards, and all of these tiles collapse onto you as you hit the ground. I'm going to give you 1 minor injury on top of that as these tiles scatter around you and you hit your head on the floor. I am also going to give you, well, depending on what you do, if you choose to attack, this will equate to a -1 net on your roll. Otherwise, it may increase the difficulty of what you are doing, because you are essentially prone with crap on you. So what would you like to do?
So I know what Roman would like to do if he were not high as fuck, but he is high as fuck, and he has 10 cards in his hand.
It's true.
And so I think the only thing... Roman is just, like, straight up panicking at this point. And so what he is going to try to do is scramble up, grab as many pieces of the ceramic as he can, and he is just going straight for the bubble.
Okay. You want to? Your line of thought is to gather all this stuff and try to get to work.
Not all of it, as
much as you can,
many
yeah.
as I can feasibly grab.
Okay.
If that is not all, that is fine.
Of course, of
but
course.
That is his goal, is just to head in that direction because he can't think of anything else. He's just like, I've got to get there.
Mhm.
I've got to get in. I can't focus on this goo monster.
All right. Love it. Love it.
I have a question.
Mhm.
For JD. I have a question for you. Does Roman do enough drugs that he can recognize what is happening to him right now?
Fair.
I think if I didn't have 10 cards in my hand, I would say he could. But I think at this point, the effects of the environment and the effects of the drug are so similar that he can't parse out what is what.
Okay.
Excellent. Love it. Yeah, 10 cards. You are above the maximum for the lowest depth of Malice Locus levels that I have created, which was 8, and you are at 10. So you are pissed. You are scared witless. You are confused. You are hot as hell and sweating, probably dehydrated, and the drug water wasn't really going to help that. You got this cotton mouth. You got this headache. Your ribs hurt. You can't think correctly, and you know you need to solve this problem because, as you said, you were meant to be here. Apparently, you were brought here. You were not sent. This is your thing to deal with. You have to go there and deal with it. So
You're
I
the
love
hero, Roman.
it. Yep. So, I would like you to roll me another frailty check to see how much of this stuff you can gather and be able to get safely and not drop it or break it or lose it or anything on your way to the steel bubble. And that is going to be a medium difficulty. No, because I did say if this was an attack, it would be a net -1, but that doesn't apply to non-contested rolls. So this will actually be a hard difficulty, one step up from where it was. And because you have that major injury penalty, the base for you is now always medium. So frailty, the lowest die you now compare to your dots in frailty, and you need to get above it.
I doubt it's going to do anything. I am going to use willpower to re-roll 1 die.
All right.
And it's good I did, because that's 3 5s now. So, just
Okay.
over my frailty
Wow.
of 4.
Very nice, very nice. Roman is the hero of this story, apparently. As
Who
you
knew?
scrabble up as much as you can, you probably do get what is left of the tattered and dirty, once nice button-up shirt, and you can sort of pull
Oh, no,
that
that's
out.
gone. That is gone. I only have the windbreaker.
That's true. Yeah, you have that
Yeah.
windbreaker.
Monster in.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
fact, with the heat in here and everything, you can easily throw that off, scoop a whole bunch of these ceramic tiles up, and waddle your way over to the steel bubble. And you make it there just fine, and you got a decent enough amount of that pile of ceramics that you can get to work creating whatever sort of makeshift crucible or compacted area that you can. But whether Roman's in the mind space to realize it or not, you do need the coke for this to do anything.
Yep.
Laura, back to you.
Yeah.
I also believe that, much like Telltale games, there's a little Chad will remember this when Roman runs off after Chad went out of his way to make sure that he had him at his back.
Nice.
Shouldn't have drugged me, bro. You know what? Maybe I could have talked your father down if you hadn't drugged me.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right now.
I think that
thinking
your
of getting
real
in the
friend
bubble.
was Laura the whole time.
No.
Absolutely not. I know. Absolutely not.
I can't wait to share my
Listen,
notes.
Laura's crazy.
Ko-Fi supporters of hero tier and higher get my GM notes, and I am going to be dropping some juicy stuff later. But
So excited.
Laura,
Okay.
what you got?
There are 2 things. There are 2 things I've got. One of them is less likely to work than the other.
Do that one.
But the one that's more likely to work is smarter. And that's where we run into the issue, because
Alright.
Laura is, I wouldn't call Laura dumb, but Laura is not, like, Laura's not a genius. Laura's a B student.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's pissed off, and heaven knows she has a foul temper on her. There are two things I can do right now. I can try and get the coke back from the Yuck Man. Or I can try to lure the Yuck Man to the bubble because of his ooze. And I do know his ooze is Bernie because it has touched me. And I do know because the tire iron was smoking. Okay, no, that's enough evidence that I can say that, like, you know what? Maybe Roman's trying to lure him over there. That's what I've decided is happening.
All right, so what are you doing?
The problem is I've got to signal to Chad. Otherwise, Chad's just going to stand here with him and get wrecked, and nothing will be accomplished. Laura is going to shout, "The bubble!" No, Roman's right, the bubble! To Chad, and I don't know if Chad is gonna interpret that the way, like, I don't know, but that's what she shouts. And then she resumes with her, like, "Alright, you megalomaniacal piece of shit, I am seriously fucking done! Give me that!" And she is going to attempt to snatch the coke and run toward the bubble.
Okay.
Why not both?
Yeah. How would you like to go about doing that? Are you just throwing yourself into this mound of goo and physically trying to take it out? Are you trying to, like, hack away at the tendril?
He didn't eat it. You said explicitly he didn't pull it into himself.
He did not pull it into himself, but it is enclosed in his goo. He threw his tendril out, and it subsumed over top of it. He didn't bother pulling it back because it is part of him.
Oh,
It doesn't matter how close it is. It is still physically in him. It's just, at the end of his, like, 20-foot arm.
I am going to... I honestly think I'm going to make a attempt to make, like, a dive and a roll.
You just want to kind of like body surf your way down into that goo and pop out the other side? No?
It's body surf amounts of goo? I thought it was just one gooey arm.
Well, this is like a whole oversized shopping bag of Coke, so it's,
Okay.
yay big. So the goo pile is probably about 2.5, 3 feet in diameter. So, I mean, body surfing level, probably not necessarily.
Okay.
But you will need to, like, physically... You would have to go in probably all the way up to your shoulders or, like, stick your whole upper torso in to rip it out.
To do. This is gonna suck so much ass to do. I shouldn't do it. It would suck a lot to do that, huh?
Potentially.
Do it. No fear.
No fear.
No fear.
No fear. Also, Laura is extremely quick. So
Yeah.
she's not diving into there. She is reaching in, and she's using the forward momentum of this dive, which is not aimed at goo, but at floor.
Sure.
Which she is going to tumble out of. Hopefully goo in hand. Hopefully Coke in hand. She's going to try to be in and out before she gets dissolved.
Alright, so you want to run forward, sort of tumble, try to grab the makeshift strap you made of this bag, and just roll out and keep going.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, I think this is going to be a... You're not necessarily using your bulk to do this, you're just trying to be quick and use the momentum with yourself.
Fast.
Yeah, we're going to call this...
She's fast and she's shitty.
Yeah, we're going to call this a
Like-
clumsiness check. You are working towards your strength. I'll
Weasel.
reward that. Yeah.
Fast and shitty.
So
Weasels are good. Laura is not.
we're going to call this another contested check because you are trying to rip something away from somebody else. So roll your 3d6, consult that against your 1 dot in clumsiness.
Well, I have a specialty in dance. Does this? I haven't applied it before, but she's literally tumbling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that brings my associated roll down by 1, which means I get 3 successes. Is that how this works? If I bring frailty, does this let me bring frailty to 0?
No, your minimum score
Not
is always
frailty,
1.
1. Yeah.
Minimum score is always 1. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why I struck out clumsiness and wrote frailty, because basically if it's dance related, my frailty is a little bit lower. But that doesn't apply here. Okay.
Does not apply here, unfortunately, because you were using
Because her clumsiness is already 1.
Yeah. Like it thematically, but yeah, mechanically it doesn't provide as big of a difference. Yeah, no. So roll your 3d6, consult that, and this will be rolled against its
3 successes.
3 successes. That's probably
girl's
gonna
quick.
be good. I'm gonna call this against its resist stat. I think makes more sense than its attack stat. It got 3 successes. So on a tie. Let me double check this. On a tie, do I have this in my notes? Tie goes to the defender.
No.
Tie goes to the defender.
Wow.
It helps you in certain situations,
Mm,
but not in this one.
What can I listen? I need to listen. Where am I? I'm
Cry. I think that's the option here.
Yeah, you already rolled 3 successes. So using willpower to re-roll isn't going to help unless you want to go for the critical. I mean, you could attempt
critical
that,
fishing,
but
that will be fun.
yeah, I mean, you need triple 6s to critical. So unless you're already sitting on 2, it probably wouldn't work out. Unfortunately, there's no other way to boost your roll. So I think that's just I will say.
No.
Let's see if we can make a devil's bargain here.
Because that means we can't.
Because I love devil's bargains.
Devils. You mean.
Let me roll again real quick. This is going to be basically its attack value as opposed to Alright, so it doesn't get any net successes on you, so it would do just the basic damage. So I will say, you can fail and just take a minor injury, no penalty, and 1 point on death's door. Or, Devil's Bargain, you can succeed at a cost. You can grab the coke, but that cost is I step that up to a major injury. You will take 3 notches of death's door and have an injury until you can treat it.
Oh, we get the coke.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But we get the coke.
Oh, we get the coke.
I'm gonna do it. We can't get the coke otherwise.
Go for it.
Or at least it would take you another turn. I will say I did roll well, though I tend to on d6s.
Because I rolled 3 is the best we can do.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, unless you can find some other way to help bolster that, I might award, net positives or negatives for environmental situations and being particularly clever. But this was just your physicality against its physicality.
You know what? Yeah, I'll take an injury.
Okay, 3 points on your death's door. You take the injury acid burn. Specifically on your dominant arm.
Cool.
Though, mechanically, I don't think that will matter too much. 3 damage, acid burn, injury, and you grab the coke. It hurts, it stings, and you can feel the resistance of this creature trying to keep you inside of its goo. It wants to collect you, it wants to have you, it wants to not only possess you, but stop you from enacting whatever you are doing. But you push through it. You rip away from it, and your whole arm is smoking and red and blistering in places. But you grab it, you run forward, and you can make your way over to the bubble.
Yeah.
Love it. Oh boy, I know we are going to press for time here. Let's see what we can do in this upcoming turn, and we might jump to narrative time. We'll see. This is going to put us back to the gatekeeper. It is going to. If I was playing this more tactically, I would probably try to seize Laura, but I want to make this more interesting, and I know we are running low on time. So what is something else the gatekeeper can grab? You guys don't really have any means. One of the things on your shopping list was tools to be able to manipulate the hot iron once you get it to forge temperature. You did have the lever, which potentially could have been used vaguely for that purpose, but it already has that as well. I think, in fact, it is just going to try to seize Chad.
Get him!
Because this monster,
That was directed at Chad. Get
based-
the goo man.
this monster, based on
I'm
your
not.
own negativity, wants to
I'm not
hold
cheering for
and
the young
possess the being that is basically basically made it. So this is an infliction. So I will consult that. It uses its pseudopod to lash out and attempt to seize you. You must make either a frailty or a clumsiness check at medium difficulty. Now I will say, again, narratively, clumsiness, you are dodging out of the way. Frailty, you are allowing it to touch you, but you are ripping yourself away once it interacts with you. If that changes how you roll.
It does change how I roll, because I'm gonna go with clumsiness again, because he has no interest in letting Octodad put a goddamn fucking finger on him.
Yep, love it. Go ahead and roll. This is not contested because it is just bypassing the infliction.
So we're down to 13. Nope, sorry. So I'm at tense. So it would cost. For one, I get to reroll 2 dice now, right?
For stress, let me just double check this here.
Okay.
When you spend willpower, it still only costs you 1 willpower, but you can only reroll 2 dice instead of 3.
Can I spend 2 willpower to reroll?
You
all
can
my
spend
dice?
as many willpower as you have.
I'm gonna spend 2 willpower to go down to 12
All right.
because I followed up my 3 sixes with 3 ones,
Ooh.
which I think is the second time today.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
Mustn't
Yeah.
can.
The dice are trying to tell a story.
yeah.
I won't lock you
I
into that,
respected
but-
it the first time.
Yeah, all right.
This time,
All right. Just don't do
Okay.
it again.
we're medium, right? We're medium.
Medium, yes. Your middle value
Okay.
has to exceed your clumsiness.
1, 3, 4.
All right. The three beats the 2 of your clumsiness. You dodge out of the way.
Whoa.
All right. So it does not lash at you. However, it tries to grab you, and you dodge away from that and dodge in towards another tendril that is just trying to come down and slam onto you. So this is when it becomes a contested attack roll. So it is going to roll against its attack value. You are going to roll again against frailty or clumsiness, depending on
This
how you would
time
like to interact with it.
This time I think it's going to be frailty. I don't think Chad is. I think Chad recognizes there's no possible way for him to throw himself out of the way. I think his temper is going to take over here, and I think he's just going to try and fucking truck this thing.
All right. That is 3 successes on Octogudad.
I am spending 2 more willpower to go down to 10 to re-roll my dice because that was
I love eating that willpower.
okay. So we've got 3 successes, 6, 6, 4.
Okay. That is a net 0 between the 2 of you. It does contact you, but not enough to deal damage.
Yeah, the way I kind of envision it is it's the one it's like swinging down with has like the spike bit on it, and so as it comes down at Chad, he manages to like shoulder check the side of that spike, which prevents that direct contact and allows him to kind of shove it out of the way as his momentum keeps carrying him forward. But he's now kind of running in a almost like half circle arc underneath these tendrils as he goes. And I would imagine moving away from the steel bubble.
Okay.
Not running away from them, but like clearly trying to maintain its attention as he goes around.
Good to note. And for the demo play side of things, I will also note, if the monster fails, it simply misses the attack, but it will gain +1 success for the next attack on that target. So if it focuses and keeps trying to attack you, it's going to get easier and easier to hit you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The bonus net success is not cumulative, though, so it will only ever get a +1, but it will get a +1 next time on top of its already bonuses.
Oh, good.
That brings us to you, Chad. Continue.
Yeah. So I think as he's running through, there's another like 1 or 2 lashes of these tendrils, and he just keeps kind of like bobbing and weaving his way through them. And then I think Chad will notice the lever in one of these tendrils that's coming at him, and I think Chad wants to try and grab for it.
Okay.
So not so much an attack on him, but I do want to try and grab that lever and drag it out.
I will say, because I think you have been most attentive of this creature up to this point, as it has moved out and attempt to grab things, especially once it has grabbed things, you can see it is losing mass from its center form to be able to shunt that mass over to an object. So you can see it looks like it is getting thinner, spindlier, frailer, as it latches on to more things.
Okay. Then instead...
But you also might need that lever.
Fair. Well, I mean, we're surrounded by a bunch of debris.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, you can find something else.
I imagine there's got to be something else. So yeah, I think instead then what Chad wants to do is grab whatever the largest thing he can comfortably lift and just try and like jam it into the fucking tendril the next time one swings at him.
Okay. Do I want to give you a roll to figure out its shenanigans?
Ooh.
How smart is Chad?
I will fail.
How smart is our boy Chad?
For an ignorance, Chad is not a smart boy.
You know
it's the
what?
weakest muscle in his body.
Just because it's yet another way to potentially eat up your willpower. If you would like, I can let you roll an ignorance check to try to figure out, what it's doing here, unless you have your own hunches to play.
That depends. Is it going to be medium or hard?
It would be medium, and I will say this won't really give you much of a consequence for failure, because this is me trying to give you a hint. Is
sure.
really all this is.
I think that makes sense. I think I'll roll the ignorance.
All right.
Yeah, Chad is looking for ways to deal with this thing. He's probably more focused on this than he's been on anything in a little while.
Yeah.
And I think this is where, if he's gonna have any brain power to spend, this is where that one brain cell goes.
Excellent. Roll that one brain cell.
Hey, the one brain cell coming in tight. That's 662.
Nice. All right. So pushing past the visage of your dad and all the baggage that comes with, and really listening to what it said.
That's the motivation for it.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what it is he wants to outsmart this old fuck.
Yeah. Pushing past that, thinking about what it said, thinking about how it acts, this thing covets what is important to you. It wants what you have. It wants what you want, and it wants to stop you from doing the things that you want by taking as much from you, as much of you as you can, as it can. It is covetous. It is the gluttonous gatekeeper. Mm-hmm. Are you picking up what I'm putting down here?
I'm picking up some of it.
All right. So I will say, trying to forcefully shove something into it, it might not just eat up like it did the first attack. That was kind of a hint, kind of a give you. Look, as it's eating stuff, it gets a little more distended.
Yeah.
But it wants what you want. It wants what you have. So if you can make something appear important to you, important to what you are doing, it may just decide that it wants that more than it wants you, and spread itself even thinner.
Yeah, I can work with that. I don't know if that's just my turn or.
I will say you can't do anything exceedingly fancy. But do something. We're pressed on time anyway. Do something.
Sure. Okay. So I think Chad's gonna stop and just kind of look up at this thing and meet its gaze, and then he reaches down and he unzips the fanny pack and he pulls out one of the bottles and he pops it open. And I think that's where I'm gonna end. I think that's exactly where his his action would end.
Yeah. You can feel there is a connection between you and this thing, and one of its eyes just immediately shoots down to that bottle. The other one is off looking at the steel bubble, but this one shoots down at that bottle. And I will say, because you're using this item purposely to entice it, this will be the last of your drugs.
Yep, seems good. And as the eye shifts down, Chad's like, "That's right, you old piece of shit, and you can't have it."
All right. Roman, what would you like to be doing?
So, first point of order, just out of curiosity, what is the steel bubble looking like to Roman at this point?
It looks hot. In fact, in your drug-addled state, you're kind of thinking, this might actually just be malleable as it is. It looks like it is glowing red hot at this point, and you can actually feel the heat of it. This is like full sensory illusion, if it is an illusion, because you are actually, for the demo play side of things, you are actually further down in the Malice Locus reality. So this could be the reality that you are stuck in. It looks hot. It feels hot. And even just running close enough with these ceramics to get to the point of enacting your plan is dangerously hot temperatures. And you can see there are the sharp corners of all the metal debris in it are beginning to smooth out as the edges of the metal begin to heat up and start to form molten. So to you, it looks like your job might actually be mostly done. Could still use some help, but it's hot. And the whispers are not whispers anymore. You perceive that you are apparently in the thick of the catastrophe that happened here. Those golden statues that are thickest around this point, you can't help but look at them. You can see faces form on them, and they don't disappear anymore, and they look terrified, they look angry, they look in pain. And you can hear the screams clearly and loudly, shouting at each other, shouting to get away, shouting and cursing at the management. You are essentially right here in the thick of the catastrophe, on top of the situation you find yourself in.
Okay. That changes a few of the things that I was thinking of.
10 cards in hand, man.
It's rough.
Roman is messed up right now.
And I think we're getting a little more messed up, because what I think Roman is actually going to try to do is to push one of the statues into the bubble. I think he wants to see if that will break through, even though it looks like a person that is effectively pushing in there. I think that is what his mind goes to.
I love it.
The true color.
I love it. Oh, I love it. You guys give me just the best gifts.
Well, we love you, Jack.
We do. We want you to be a happy DM.
And I love you too. Yeah, okay. I do actually recall, or I see now that I'm looking at my notes properly. It is Chad, in fact, that has the haunt of malice. You have temptation, but we've seen that Sith level practicality from Roman as well. Use people as need be, and probably very in line with what happened here and your father and his fathers before him. So you want to take one of these golden figures, which in your drug-addled, Malice Locus enveloped state pretty much might as well be a person, and you want to throw them into this red-hot, orange-hot, glowing metal to see if you can just use this poor bastard as a means to push through the steel bubble.
100%.
I wish I wasn't so pressed for time so I could actually suss this out a little better. Okay. How is that going to work, and how is the Malice Locus going to... Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Roman.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of really want this to work. How are you going about trying to shove this thing into the steel bubble? Because I'm looking at your physicality stats, and they leave a lot to be desired.
They do. They do. So I know what I would love to argue for. I'm
Hit
not
me.
quite sure I can. Tech got weird again for a second. We're fine. Because what I would love to do is to try and convince this poor bastard to get in there. But that I do not know is something that Roman is in a place to do.
So, even if in this wibbly-wobbly reality you find yourself in, that could physically be something that could happen, convincing somebody to dive into near molten metal might be a hard sell, even for Roman.
That's valid. So
I would see it as being like if Roman is drug-addled and panicking, he's gonna do what comes most naturally to him. So I'm with JD on Roman doing something manipulative here, because I think that's...
I 100% agree that it's something that he would likely do.
Yeah,
it's just the effectiveness of it that I'm really questioning.
You're already dead, right?
But yeah,
what could it possibly hurt?
But I'm working on some things up here that may influence that. So, Roman, you could choose to go that route if you would like, and I think the difficulty of that test and any modifiers that I put on it in my brain because of what is happening and who you are, will come down to the argument that you use, whether you're persuading or intimidating or deceiving or commanding. How would you go about this? I will actually say as well, as you move through this perceived crowd of once golden statue people, in and amongst the chaos that is happening, every now and then you see a few people turn towards you and scowl and spit at you your boot and call you a worthless suit, and that it's your fault.
So I think if at all possible, he's going to address one of the ones who did not react to him in that way.
Okay.
And he's going to say, look, we're all in this hell together, and you're suffering. I can hear it in your screaming, and you are just going through this over and over and over again, and all of us will be going through this over and over and over again, but you can make it stop. All you need to do is go through there. And he's going to point at the bubble and say, I know I'm asking you to sacrifice yourself, but you've already been sacrificed. Isn't it worth it to sacrifice yourself for everyone? Your family, the people who are still trapped here, don't you want them to be free?
Excellent. Roll me a medium difficulty. This was going to be hard, but I love that. Roll me a medium difficulty test against your repulsion. Your ability to convince and sway.
4, 4, 5.
Okay, yeah, that beats it. Chad, I think, is busy dealing with Goodad over there. But Laura, while you're trying to get this all set up, for no real reason you can conceive of, Roman stands up, walks over to one of these golden statues, and exposits this speech to it.
Fucking guy! Fucking guy.
And Roman, in your mind, there is this overlay of an actual person, not even just like a ghostly entity, but an actual person sort of overlaid over the top of this big golden meeple. And it's messing with your brain as to which is real and which is not, and the drugs are not helping. But you see this guy, probably in his mid-40s, look over at you, caked in soot, near obsidian head to toe. You can see wearing these thick leather gloves, these thick leather overalls. He is sweating. His hair is matted down underneath his hard hat. He has goggles that are sided kind of like half on his eyes. He turns to you, looks you up and down. There is a grimace of hatred that you recognize in him. And as you get to the end of your speech, and you're trying to, I suppose in your mind, convince this person that it is a ghost, and that it is trapped here, and that these other people are trapped here, the people he cared about, his descendants are trapped here, and trying to convince it to realize what it is and sacrifice itself so you can do something about it. It doesn't say anything, but it does, that seething behind its eyes does linger, but it does straighten, look at you. There's a slight nod to his head, and he turns and he looks at it. And nobody but Roman sees this, but this individual runs forward, hands out, grabs at the steel bubble, and rips it open. To everybody else, the golden statue quickly, in the 5 to 10 seconds it takes for this round, quickly rusts. First of all, gold doesn't rust. Quickly rusts, cracks, and falls to pieces on the ground, and there is this gust of wind, presumably, that blows this corroded, rusted steel gold dust towards the bubble. And you can see there is a corrosion, a thin line of corrosion that forms in the steel and briefly splits. Roman, do you take this time to run towards that opening?
Yes.
You do so. You run forward, and from your point of view, Laura, you don't initially see this quickly forming rust tear that is opening. You just think, for some reason, Roman stood up, had a one-sided conversation with a statue, and now is going to run full force into a steel wall. Roman runs forward and sort of tightens his body as close together and throws himself through what is now just a big enough hole for him to fit through, and we see Roman disappear inside the darkness of this steel bubble. As the rust begins to fade away, the steel begins to glow bright, bright yellow hot, and begins to close up.
The fuck?
That's where we're going to end it for today.
I'm not going in there. I'm not going in there after the little prince.
Because I cannot think of a better cliffhanger than this precious gift that JD you have given me.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you guys so much. You have given me so many wonderful presents today. I could not have asked for a better cast. Thank you so much for being here, being creative, and playing your characters in just the most delicious of ways. We will see about getting to the resolution of this monster fight later. It may be able to be resolved. We may be able to get the rest of the group in with Roman. We'll see. We're gonna have to act real quick at the beginning of next episode. So there is a lot going on. A lot to handle, and next week is going to be our finale. our final ultimate episode of Iron, Coke, and Conscience. And man, I am excited to see what happens because man, JD, you give me just the best presents. All right. I had so much fun with this game.
my
I will say,
God.
between life and I had COVID for 2 weeks, I know I've been drained. I know I haven't had the creativity in the first half of the season, but I am stoked for this game today and going forward. I am loving this. Okay, that is where we're going to wrap. Thank you so much, cast, for playing. Thank you so much, audience, for watching and supporting. Man, this was so much fun. I will do one more plug during our outros. If you want to help me, help support, and pay these wonderful people who give me just the best presents, my way to be able to do that is through the Mayhem Meter. So if you can, if you have the means to, and if you want to support the channel, not even the channel, these amazing people, please consider scrolling down, hit the About tab if you're not already there, click on that Mayhem Meter, and toss a few bucks their way. Anything we get in the Mayhem Meter is going to be split up between the cast, myself included, because I'm doing work too, but split between this cast evenly. In fact, I eat all the fees, so I get a slightly smaller piece of the pie, but this is my way of paying the cast because they so deserve it. So if you have the means, you want to support, I'd rather you support the Mayhem Meter than head to our Ko-Fi. But there's going to be so much juicy stuff dropping in our Ko-Fi at the end of this episode and definitely at the end of the season, because I have a lot of great notes on my monsters and all the things, all the moving pieces, all the clues I've been dropping that are going to go onto Ko-Fi for hero tier supporters, which get GM facing stuff, and adventure tier supporters get after shows and character sheets and player facing kind of stuff. So if you want to support that way, I would love it, but first and foremost, help me get back to these awesome people with the Mayhem Meter. And if we can hit that $50 or more in our Mayhem Meter, we can make this finale explosive. Perhaps even literally. With that, let me actually throw it right back to the cast here, because I want them to tell you about themselves and where you can find more of their amazingness, and I can get to my final comments towards the end there. So let's go in reverse order. JD, just thank you so much for just everything you do today. List off all of whatever you can manage of this long list of things I know you do. You are muted.
Oh no!
There was a hiccup.
Are we back?
We're here. We're good.
Implode?
We're good.
I don't know what technology has been doing today.
It's the Malice Locus.
It is back for the moment.
Yeah.
It's seeping through the meta.
So over the next week, you can find me with two of these amazing people for SCP, A Crumbling Foundation, on Monday, over with Tales from the Table Studios. Then I'm going to be with Live from the Apocalypse on Tuesday and Wednesday for, respectively, Class Reunion, our homebrew D&D game, Tuesday, and then Blood, oh my god, I'm blanking on the title because I'm thinking of the main one, Shadows Between the Stacks, Blood of the Harvest, our Call of Cthulhu Dark Academia game that we are currently doing on Wednesdays. And then I'm actually going to be over with Exquisite Corpse on Friday for their Pride event at the Oops All Trans table, where we will be playing Fist, and I will be playing the most pathetic human being you ever saw, who is also a puppet master manipulator, but is not very good at it. And then I'll be back here on Saturday for Locus, and that is it for the next week.
All right, excellent. Lion, again, you give me such great gifts too, and you gave JD the gift of overdosing on drugs.
Yeah, I gave Roman the gift of insight.
Yes.
Sight beyond sight, perhaps.
There you go. Perhaps.
Like some sort of omens.
Exactly. See? Yeah.
You see the sight beyond sight. And the
Perfect.
Snarf. Yes.
So where can we find more Lion?
Well, hi, I'm Lion. You can find me at the Lion Knight 42 over on Twitter, or at TFTT Studios on Twitter, because I'm the creative director and founder for Tales from the Table Studios. You'll be able to find me next, actually tomorrow, between the hours of, I have it here, give me half a second to double check, because there was a small shift. Got it. Between the hours of 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. EST, also over on Exquisite Corpse Presents, for the Oops All Pan table, where we will be playing a game called, I'm going to get panned for this, I know, and I feel terrible, Occultation. We're going to be a bunch of people checking out a spooky castle. There's going to be ghosts. It's going to be very reminiscent of Hanna-Barbera and a great time. Then you will be able to find me on Monday, where I am the Tail Slinger for A Crumbling Foundation, an SCP-themed actual play, which includes both JD and Jack, two of my amazing cast that I am very lucky to have with me, as they begin to explore some of the intricacies of things that have been happening at Site 26, and it's very exciting, and I can't wait for that. Then you'll be able to find me on Thursday, also with Tales from the Table Studios, where I will be returning to the role of Abellis Volturn, the High Elf of Two Minds, Warlock, Sorcerer, maybe some other stuff going on. But we're making friends. We just met a boat. We're getting friendly with the boat. A whole bunch of stuff is happening. It's going to be a good time. Used to be 5e, now it's Pathfinder Season 3. We've really been enjoying it, so come check that out. And I think that is it. Oh, Tuesday you'll be able to find me behind the camera, so I'll be active in chat over at Tales from the Table Studios for our new episode of Crime Solvers Anonymous, a Monster of the Week game, featuring some of our favorite people as they come back together after having grown out of being, well, most of them have grown out of being teen or kid detectives or crime solvers, as they are thrust into a new and strange mystery to solve. And then I'll be back here on Saturday for another episode of Locus, the finale for the season, which I am both very excited for and absolutely heartbroken that we'll be wrapping up. But I think it's going to be a real good episode. I'm really excited. So that's where you can check me out. Really excited. Please come do so. Come hang out for all these amazing games. And if you're not going to be here, go check out Live from the Apocalypse or any of these other people's amazing work at any time, because please do that. It's great. Love all these people. I've taken up all the time I need to. So I'll throw it off to Kat.
Before we get to that, actually,
What?
I want to throw out a personal thank you to Kian, who just dropped 20 bucks in our Mayhem meter. Thank you so much. That means so much. We will be applying that and hopefully the rest of the Mayhem meter to our finale next week. So thank you so much, Kian.
Thanks, Kian, you're the best.
Kat,
What? Oh,
what's
yeah,
up with Kat?
it's time. So I remembered some stuff between my first intro and this one. I'm very excited about that. So I am Kat. I am a game designer by trade. I design under the name Peach Garden Games. I wrote Heroic Chord, which was season 2 of RPGs Uncovered, and it was very good, and everyone was good and wholesome.
Go check that
We had a
out.
long conversation about what it means to risk your life to help other people, and now we're here. And I think that's magical.
It could not be more of a reverse.
It could not. There was not a single thing. Like, I went from playing like a large, sad, self-sacrificing genius man to playing a small, bitter, survivaling lady. Like,
Yeah.
genuinely the anti-Marius.
It's so funny because it makes me realize that of the 2 seasons I've been on here, both times I've played a character who had no idea what the fuck was going on, and it's perfect.
It's fun. It's fun to play.
Yeah.
It's much more fun to play someone who doesn't know what's happening.
True.
I am the host, king of the podcast Sword of Symphonies, which is the playtest podcast for Heroic Chord, and I won for bestest GM for the King of GMs. And I'm also the choir master of Roar to Heaven, where a different set of friends play my Lumen game, Blazing Him, and are punished for it. I am still punishing them.
Do it.
I love to do it. Blazing Him is my most popular game. It's a transparent Symphogear fan game. That's not the point. 2 important things coming up stream-wise. One of them is that I'm going to be having a show on +1 EXP called Take Flight, where I am the flight attendant helping people get their projects off the runway and into the sky with the help of expert co-pilots from the TTRPG space. And I promise I will have a start date for my intro next week. Next Saturday, I hope I will have a start date so I can tell you when we're premiering. But the first 4 episodes are set up, and they're gonna be staggering. We've got people talking about how to put a PBTA together. We've got people talking about how to just get off your ass and write the game. We've got mechanical experts talking about sifting through crunch, like anything you can think of. It's going to be amazing. And this weekend, here's the thing I remembered. My podcast network is hosting the Rainbow Roll Festival, a week-long podcast showcase celebrating queer excellence in actual play. You can find us at Rainbow Roll Net on Twitter. I'm gonna definitely be a host, certainly not during the Saturday block that I'm playing this, but I'm gonna be spending a lot of time talking. We're raising money for, I think it's the Trevor Project this year. It was Mermaids their first year, but so come check us out if you like excellence in queer roleplay, and you do.
Excellent.
That's what you're doing here.
Yes, it is what you were doing here.
Get the fuck out!
Yeah.
Sorry.
I wish Rainbow Roll was taking applications for streamed for video shows. They don't.
Hey, dummy. We do.
You do? Because I saw. Okay.
We added it pretty recently, so when
We're gonna have to have some conversations.
Yeah.
Then.
All right.
When we launched,
All right.
we weren't, but we opened to streams. Yeah.
Where we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk.
Yup.
Yes, obviously.
Excellent. Excellent.
I didn't mean
Thank
to
you
call
for pointing
a
that
dummy.
out.
I think you're a genius, and I love you very much. But
I am a dummy.
we recently decided to take streams.
Excellent.
I didn't mean to call you dumb. I think you're wonderful.
Yeah. All right. So perhaps I might be involved in that some way too. We'll see. Because that is very important to me. That is definitely an identifier of myself and of this channel. So we'll see if I can be part of that. Anyway, I think that's everyone. Well, there's me. You're already here. You know where to find me. Check back. Go check out the YouTube for all of our previous seasons and for all of our Whip Workshop episodes. We just did a wonderful conversation with Gavin and Andrea of Balsamic Games Collective, I think is the way they put it, Balsamic Games, who is making and going to be crowdfunding Witches of Midnight. That goes live, the Kickstarter goes live on the 21st, that is the summer solstice, actually. So we just had a great conversation about Witches of Midnight. I'm using the term witch punk, which apparently is a video game, but in my mind I coined it as the genre of this game. It's basically cyberpunk minus the cyber, throw some witches in there and kind of sprinkle a little World of Darkness on, and it's a Forge in the Dark game, which means it's easy to learn, really fun to play, really collaborative storytelling between the GM and players. So if that tickles your fancy, go check out the most recent episode of Whip Workshop. And also, I want to give a shout out to Veil of the Void, my friend Trevor over there. Trevor and Noble, you can see my interview with them, another Whip Workshop interview, the one before that, for Veil of the Void Yggdrasil, their Psy-Norse expansion. Their Kickstarter is currently live. It's going to be going on for another couple weeks, I think. Veil of the Void was season 1 of RPGs Uncovered. Such an incredible season, such a great story, such a fun game. I have the book over here, and it's beautiful, and I love it, and I love this game. I am in no way supported by them financially or anything. This is 100% my enthusiastic support of just a fantastic creator and fantastic game. So if you like sci-fi kind of stuff, you like Psy-Norse stuff, you want to be a space Viking or a space mermaid or a space Etin, fly around in space longships and walk the roots and branches of Yggdrasil, go check out the Yggdrasil expansion on Kickstarter for Veil of the Void. I think that's all I need to plug from my friends elsewhere. Nothing new on the horizons just yet because I'm recovering from over a month of nonsense. But we will be getting back to new episodes of Whip Workshop 2 soon. Stay tuned for announcements on Season 6 of RPGs Uncovered. And if you are a creator, a TTRPG creator out there, and you have a game you want to see featured either on Whip Workshop or on RPGs Uncovered, please let me know. Come hang out on our Discord, shoot me a message, give me a message on Twitter. My DMs are open. Or you can email RPGs Uncovered at rpgsuncovered@gmail.com. So if you have a game, please tell me about it. I love learning new games and showcasing new games and making friends with awesome creators. I think that's all I have. Go check out the Ko-Fi if you want to help support the channel and see all of my nonsense, all of my notes that I dropped there. We already talked about the Mayhem Meter. I think that's all. So, next week we will be back for our finale of Iron, Coke, and Conscience. I'm going to be sad to see it go, but it is going to be just so fun after the events of today. I had some great notes already, and I'm going to be adding to that pretty much as soon as I sign off here. It's going to be so much fun. Stop back next week. That's Saturday, 2 p.m. EDT for the finale of Iron, Coke, and Conscience. And then the week following, we're going to be doing our final review and analysis of Locus. We're going to talk all about the game, the game that we've played. We're going to talk all about the rules, tools, and themes again afterwards, after we've all played it, and give another breakdown and talk about how we enjoyed the game, what we liked about it, what types of players and GMs will get the most out of it. It's always a good time. It's basically an extended after show where we talk about mechanics and all kinds of cool stuff. So come hang out then. That's all I got. So, as always, everyone out there, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. Keep checking back here at RPGs Uncovered, where I hope to find you your next favorite game to play around the table. And let's see, you know what? When you are face to face with a giant gelatinous goo monster called the Gluttonous Gatekeeper, it probably would be good to have on hand a nice bushel of heart tomatoes, because it's definitely gonna eat those up. Happy time zone, folks. We'll see you next week.
Mwah.